Welcome in. Happy early signing day to you. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen. I'm back. Little 2-day vacation, chance to sleep in a little bit, do some things that I like to do. Did a little Christmas shopping, did some Christmas baking, promptly walked out of the house and left all the goodies I had prepared for Patrick and Jen. So they will have to wait another day. But for South Carolina fans, for Shane Beamer and company, no more waiting. We are about an hour away from the first, what I've seen, projected signee to send in their letter of intent. We're going to have it for you all day long right here on 1075 The Game. Myself, Patrick, and Jen will get you through the next 3 hours. We'll keep you updated as the letters of intent roll in. The fax machines making their one appearance for the year here. The Wednesday, the early signing day Wednesday in December. The fax machines come rolling out. That special fax machine that South Carolina uses, probably has been using since the 1960s. It'll make an appearance in the coach's office, and we will wait. And GamecocksOnline.com is where you will first be able to get news that a player's official letter of intent arrives at the university. Actually, I think they use email now, to be quite honest. Some of you are like, wait, what? The fax machine? And there's probably some of you out there who are going, what exactly is a fax machine? What is this? What is this
Well,
piece of
Still
equipment
using
that he is
thermal
referring?
paper?
Thermal? Yeah, that's exactly what they've done.
because I wouldn't know how to send a fax. Most kids wouldn't know how to send a fax, but now there's plenty of administrators that are millennials that have definitely never used a fax machine in their life. In the next 10 years or so, there's going to be schools full of people where not one person in the building knows how to send a fax.
I'll admit, the fax that I have for another business that I have, we send it through email. Like you type
You
in,
scan it and email it.
yeah, you scan it, and
Yeah, I
you
can do
send it
that.
in. So
And you
that's
can electronically sign documents now, and they're legal.
so yeah.
There's
But
no reason
a
to.
lot of different ways. Things have changed, and we'll get into that here in a few minutes because obviously I've been out yesterday and Monday. Patrick and I
Hey,
were
you missed a lot. Spencer Rattler is going to be a Gamecock.
Patrick and I were joking. I was one of those people that on my off day on Monday was in bed bright and early and got up. I can say that I got up for an early morning bathroom break about 4:12 yesterday morning. Patrick looked at my phone. I had missed several text messages. A lot of text messages I had missed yesterday, and I would then learn the news that Spencer Rattler had committed and Austin Stogner, which is that would have been a big pickup if they'd have done it separately on different days. People would have celebrated the Austin Stogner um, commitment, but both Spencer Rattler and Austin Stogner announced their intentions. And I think that's interesting. And we'll get into that a little bit this morning because last year, certainly for South Carolina, it was a small signing class. There wasn't a lot of enthusiasm about early signing day from a South Carolina standpoint, maybe across the nation because of the way things had played out, in particular through COVID-19 and the way that recruiting had been able to go. It wasn't a very large class. Shane Beamer was actually still trying to help Oklahoma prepare for their bowl game. But this year, totally different story. And I'll get into it in just a minute as well. South Carolina picking up two more commitments, local products last night. Xavier Short out of Chapin, a 6'2", 215-pound tight end, wide receiver slash H-back that they're going to use, was originally committed to Appalachian State, but last night flips his commitment, calling it as his dream school. Grew up in Chapin, grew up going to South Carolina games since he moved here in fourth grade. He commits to South Carolina, and then a little bit of a surprise, but after reading the details through both Gamecock Central and thebigspur.com, DeQuandre Smith, DQ Smith, the quarterback at Spring Valley, has committed to South Carolina late last night and will come in with the intention of playing defensive back for Torian Gray and Clayton White. He will actually not sign today. He will wait and enroll in August, according to Wes Mitchell of GamecockCentral.com. DQ Smith will enroll in the month of August and will count toward the 2023 class, Patrick. So some news from last night if you're waking up. But, yeah, I missed the Spencer Rattler news. Didn't learn about it the next day, but certainly an interesting period for South Carolina is they land a couple commitments over the weekend. J-Sean Barham, a guy that you and I talked about on Friday. Stone Blanton commits on Monday. And then You get the Spencer Rattler, Austin Stogner news Monday night, followed by Xavier Short and DeQuandre or DQ Smith from Spring Valley.
Um, it is Xavier, right? Xavier.
Xavier? Am
No
I saying
X.
Xavier?
I actually
Okay.
saw. I was going to tell Captain Dave. I saw Captain Dave put out a tweet where it was an X as well.
Okay. No, I know how to spell it. I just
Z
was, yeah.
Z
Okay.
Z Xavier.
Xavier.
So he. By the way, I was looking. I mean, I had heard that he was being considered an H back. He's not that big, right? Like 6'2" and not even 200 pounds. Is that right?
No, he's about 215, 220.
215.
He's
Okay.
a bigger physical. I think they expect him to get close to 230, 235 is
Okay, I guess if he puts on that's a lot of weight to put on. So I guess that would be H back. Let's say two. I mean, there's plenty of 220-pound wide receivers out there.
I think you're going to see, from what I understand, and we'll talk about it throughout the morning as we kind of go through the class, and then coming up from 9 a.m. to noon, myself, Wes Mitchell, and Chris Clark will have a signing day special here in which we'll get a little bit more in depth as to what the South Carolina class holds, what it looks like, where are maybe some key positions that South Carolina has been able to hit on. But I think in the end, Patrick, what you'll end up seeing the young man last night, again, Chapin High School, Xavier Short, what you end up seeing is comparing him size-wise, physically size-wise to Jaheim Bell.
Yeah.
6'1", 230, 235, and we've seen them use Jaheim Bell in a multitude of ways.
Well, and honestly, football is becoming more kind of positionless, and it's because of guys like that on offense, and the defense has to have similar type athletes to compare. I mean, obviously the most high profile one was probably Isaiah Simmons at Clemson a couple years ago, but there's a couple players in this class where their position is not necessarily determined. Like, did we figure Nick Emenwari? Is that how we say? Is that how we're saying that? I mean, isn't he kind of like a hybrid sort of coverage player? I mean, he's big enough to kind of stand in the box in a like nickel situation, and there's a couple. I mean, even J-Sean Barham, I mean, is listed as a linebacker, but he's gonna be more of a kind of edge buck. Like, there's a lot of guys who are just gonna be versatile, and their position's not gonna be determined here for, I guess, a while, or it's never gonna be determined because they'll just play different roles based off the package they're in.
I think Eamon Wari is a guy 6'3", about 210 pounds. Actually led the nation in tackles this year, and is kind of projected he could gain weight and be an outside linebacker. He could stay about that size and play a true safety position. He could end up being a nickelback. There are many different ways. I read the article in the State paper this week talking to him where he says it's been kind of enjoyable to go down to South Carolina and hear the defensive coaches argue about where they want to put him and how they want to utilize him. He's certainly one of those guys. I think Donovan Westmoreland is another linebacker / edge guy that you could end up seeing be more of a defensive end or rush in, so to speak, with a gain of weight. J-Sean Barham, again, is currently listed at about 6'3", 230, 235 pounds. And again, you get into a college strength and conditioning program. It's not the 40-year-old strength and conditioning program where you add just weight, you add muscle, and sometimes it's good weight, good muscle. Most of the time in college it is. And he could end up being a guy who's more of an edge type, buck type of end instead of a true linebacker.
It's good to just, I like that you're just getting guys in that don't have a set position and letting the coaches argue over it though, because it stuck out to me when I was watching the SEC championship that Georgia basically could have had Will Anderson, the best player in college football, in my opinion. And they just decided, we like our edges to be bigger because that's just what we like here at Georgia. We like big defensive ends because we like to set the edge in the rushing game. We like to just dominate the rushing game. So unfortunately, body type wise, you just don't fit there. And I mean, Will Anderson could play on any defense in the country. He's the best defender in the country. And you miss out on guys like that because you're too picky and you have your exact set style, and you miss out on generational players. So I'd say just get them in the system, put on the weight, see how they carry the weight. Lots of kids struggle to gain weight, and if that's the case, just okay, well, you're going to be lighter and you're going to play more in the secondary because you're not gaining enough weight to get in there and thump in the middle of the defense. So just figure it out later. Get talented players in the program, figure it out later.
I think overall, look, South Carolina has to significantly continue to upgrade just their pure athleticism, just overall across the board.
Isn't that what we heard every year from Will Muschamp too, though? Just increase the team speed.
Yeah,
Team speed.
you know, look, like going against the teams that they go against, yes, that is going to be part of it. But again, you've got to continue to upgrade the just the general athleticism of this football team, from the offensive line to the defensive line to the linebackers to safeties, to wide receivers. Robert asks on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, and we'll get into some of this. Who are our wide receiver targets that are still uncommitted? Quite frankly, there's none right now. None that I'm aware of. There are no wide receiver targets that South Carolina. I think you'll see them try and get into the transfer portal here in the coming weeks as more guys continue to enter the wild world that is the transfer portal.
But and there is a target that everyone wants in the transfer portal. His name is Theo Weiss.
Right. Yeah. And we'll talk about that as well. So again, a lot to get into this morning. 803-404-6100. It will be a full day of recruiting here on 107.5 The Game. Currently, as we sit here, as we start the day without any surprises at the current moment, if you go to rivals.com, South Carolina sits with the 13th ranked recruiting class nationally, 22 commitments, according to rivals.com. If you go to 24/7 Sports, after the additions last night, South Carolina now sitting at, and I just scrolled right past it, at 16th, one behind Clemson. Clemson at 15th nationally, according to 24/7 Sports. If you go to rivals.com, Clemson with just 12 commitments, I believe 13, Clemson 12 now. They are 22nd nationally. So a smaller class for the Tigers this morning. The Gamecocks, according to rivals.com, sit at 13th nationally, 5 4-stars, 14 3-stars. According to rivals.com, 24/7 Sports has South Carolina 16th overall in terms of recruiting class, 4 4-stars, 18 3-stars, and again, Clemson 15th. So we will have a full day of recruiting coverage for you right here. Again, Patrick and I will get you going here, talking about the class, breaking it down. Again, Spencer Rattler, Austin Stogner are parts of the class. They just don't count toward the recruiting rankings. We'll get into that because, yep, I've been out. J-Sean Barham over the weekend, Stone Blanton. Also, 2 very big linebacker pickups for the Gamecocks. We'll go through a little bit of the class and we'll keep you updated. According to most of the websites this morning, it looks like offensive lineman Kason Henry out of Marietta, Georgia, is expected to be the first commit, or the first signee, I should say.
Maybe.
You think there could be an earlier one?
No, I just think that the way they're going to do it is a lot of these kids are just going to put their official paper in at 7 a.m. and then sign a fake document for their actual signing day. That's how I did. That's how a lot of people do it. So I know the ceremony, some of the ceremonies aren't going to be till like, I think Braden Davis is at 6 p.m. Is that what I saw? Or at least one of them is 6 p.m. I can't remember.
I've got him listed at 2 p.m.
Might have been
right
Brubaker or somebody.
He's at 9:30 a.m.
9:30 a.m. So I think a lot of them are potentially going to put their paperwork in early just to get it out of the way, and then they're going to sign like a blank sheet of paper and just pretend like they're actually doing their letters of intent.
So we'll see. It is that kind of day where you are constantly checking. I know J-Sean Barham is a guy that the way that kind of played out on Saturday, Patrick, very entertaining to say the least. As a lot of people within the hours leading up to his commitment to South Carolina thought that he would be heading to Maryland. I think Maryland's coaches assumed he was committing to them. And I actually went to Austin's. I've missed the Spencer Rattler news, also missed the J-Sean Barham news because I was coaching 9 and 10-year-old rec league basketball, only to walk off the court and be told that Barham had decided to commit to South Carolina. But I think that's one guy you're still watching today to make sure his national letter of intent is sent properly to the University of South Carolina and doesn't end up over there at Maryland. So there will be some eyes there that you'll want to wait and see where exactly Barham's letter of intent ends up.
I mean, we didn't get into it yesterday just because there was no reason to. But with Antonio Williams, everyone's like, is Antonio Williams going to flip now? And I was saying, I just cannot imagine someone will commit and then flip in the same week, especially with their dream school. You've done recruiting for a long time. What is the latest? Because Barham committed on Saturday. It'd be ridiculous to think that he would 4 days later flip. I mean, what is the latest that you've seen someone commit and then just change their mind? Is there any crazy story that stands out for you there?
Clemson fans, you can help me with this. Was it Marcus Jones? Marcus, a wide receiver in the early 2000s. I think he was out of Sherrall, I believe. Marcus Jones signed 2 letters of intent and sent one to Florida State and one to Clemson.
Hmm.
And I believe, and again, this was somewhere in, I want to say oh 04, oh 05, oh 06. Maybe our Clemson friends that are out there can remember this story a little bit better than I can. I I want to say because the Florida State letter of intent arrived first,
That's the one that
that
counted?
was the one that counted. But I don't know if that counts as a flip, or I don't know how you would count that. Byron Ism is another kid who I think walked out, from what I understand. Byron Ism, probably in about oh 03 or oh 04, walked out with the intent to sign with South Carolina. Had, I believe, a South Carolina hat on, got to the table, turned around, walked to the back room, decided that Auburn was where he wanted to go, and switched.
Hmm.
I've seen, having covered recruiting, I've seen plenty of it. I've seen plenty of it. I don't think Antonio Williams will flip, though. I think he's locked in with Clemson. Clemson, obviously, yesterday making the announcements official. Wesley Goodwin and Mickey Crone becoming the co-defensive coordinators, and then also um, Brandon Streeter becoming the offensive coordinator up there, so handling that. But yeah, that would be the two. There's always been the crazy ones. I think the still was it Alex Collins, the running back originally. He was
Yeah,
from
I
from Miami, who signed the letter of intent to go to Arkansas, and his mom, I believe,
ran away with it.
ran away with it
Yeah.
and would let him fax it in. So there's
Well,
usually some good recruiting stories that pop up.
I think normally South Carolina fans would be more worried about a situation like that, but things are only going in a very positive direction for them right now. So if you bring a commit in, I would think at this point in everything that's transpired since then, from I guess Saturday to now, they'd only be more excited about their decision rather than, okay, well, I just committed to South Carolina, then they lost this person, then this person flipped. I don't know. This isn't looking as good as it did 2 days ago. The commitment to South Carolina, you feel like it got in on the ground floor. So I,
It
I'm feeling comfortable. I don't know about everyone else.
Patrick's feeling comfortable.
Mike Loxley is a great recruiter though at Maryland, and staying home is I mean, a lot of people want to do it.
He's got, look, J-Sean Barham is the highest rated recruit in the South Carolina class. This was a legitimately big pickup for South Carolina. We'll get into that. We'll start to break down. Obviously, I've been out the last 2 days, so I will give my thoughts. I've just been holding them in, trying to wait until I arrive back today. So we got a busy day here on 107.5 The Game. Again, Patrick and I will get you started here for the next 2.5 hours. And then Patrick will head out to get some rest and to watch all the festivities happening. And Wes Mitchell and Chris Clark will join me here in studio from 9 a.m. to noon. We'll have a full signing day special for you. Then coming up from 12 to 4 today, Tommy, Jay, Pearson, they'll all continue to talk some recruiting. And Shane Beamer's press conference slated for about 4 o'clock this afternoon to give his thoughts, his first official thoughts on the signing day class, and depending, again, hopefully by then they'll have all letters of intent in, and then Shane will join Heath Klein later this afternoon for a one-on-one interview that you'll hear exclusively here on 107.5 The Game. So we got a big day for you. Hope you are up and at 'em on a Wednesday. Hope your Christmas shopping is nearly complete. The goodies are almost all baked, and you are enjoying the Christmas season. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Patrick Pratt, and Jen Jensen here. 107.5 The Game. It's the early game on a Wednesday morning. Signing day special.
Our early signing day special, sponsored by Herndon Chevrolet. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown Chevy dealer. Stop by our showroom today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. We'll be back with more early signing day special on 107.5 The Game.
From the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center, Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com. No accidents to report at this time, and we're looking for some great weather conditions for the next few days. 64 for the high today, 70 tomorrow. Could hit 75 on Friday, but a little bit warmer than it was yesterday. It's 42.
Yeah, we got it for you, Waddy, but now you just have to stay on YouTube, but now you can only chime in on YouTube because you're in now, and we appreciate that. Numbers were big yesterday. Yeah. We got up to 100 at one time. That was Is there any sort of signing day TV thing on?
I don't know if ESPN's doing anything. I doubt they're doing anything.
Maybe ESPN or
Yeah, I don't think they're doing anything this early.
you really don't need to be watching Emeralds Air 5.
Morning. All kinds of fun stuff, huh?
Same stuff every day. Okay, so as far as interviews and stuff this morning, do we have anybody lined up or just
Easy day. We'll just cruise right on through.
because the 7 o'clock hour, it's gotta be 3 breaks. There's just too much.
Yeah.
But the 8 o'clock I get back to 2. But I was just thought if I need to manipulate, I'll start doing that.
Okay. Yep. No rule.
Was there Carolina calls last night?
Tonight.
There was nothing last night.
Actually, no, I think Beamer's Carolina calls are next week. Frank Martin is tonight, I believe.
Because I called yesterday just while you're sitting here to make sure that the phone line's working because Cam Cockler did not call before 6 a.m. Yeah.
Seems like everybody was terrified to go to bed last night.
Everyone, stop saying that you missed Bill.
Kelly, yeah,
Except
he did
you,
do a great
Kelly.
job.
Except-
Yeah, and Patrick,
Except you, Kelly. Thank
was-
you because you did add that, but everybody else.
it caught me off guard a little bit to look over at Patrick and there not be a. It caught me a little. Oh, today's Wednesday. Yes, thank you, T. Yeah, today's Wednesday. I'm thinking today's Thursday. Golly,
I wish.
you take 2 days off, you get completely lost in the week. Today is Wednesday. All I know it is signing day. Couldn't even tell you what day it is. Just know that it's signing day. No, LeVar, just till noon, thankfully. Then they're gonna allow me to get some lunch.
But we are shutting this particular stream down at 9.
Yeah, this stream will be. I got to turn it over. You can join us on the Gamecock Central stream. It is National Cupcake Day, from what I hear on the radio.
Nice.
Oh, so it's a day dedicated to the ACC? They can't even hear me.
I have got more chocolate and sweets at my house. I got you a tin of goodies too. I walked right out and left it. You and Jen.
I hope the live
exciting.
stream people
I'll
appreciate
have it
me.
tomorrow. I'll remember tomorrow. Tin. I got peanut butter balls. We got cookies. We
Ooh.
got Chex Mix. Can't remember what else we
You
got.
spend the whole night cooking?
Most of the weekend. Got into the spiced eggnog. That was Sunday.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Andy.
Thanks, Kelly. And they didn't even know what I said. So that's even more fun.
Visit. Sponsored by Herndon Chevrolet. Expect nothing less than the best from Herndon Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy dealer, bringing you low prices and great service. The early game with Bill, Patrick, and Jen on your home of the Gamecocks.
Touchdown, Gamecocks!
107.5, the game.
You want to weigh in this morning? 803-404-6100. So you can join Patrick Perrett, Jen Jensen, myself, Cool Care Heating and Air text line, or if you got an opinion on the Love Chevy phone lines, you can also get involved on the Buford Lending live stream. Robin, Craig, Artia, Kelly, Andy, all up, and Adam ready to go. Congratulating Patrick on a very good job the last 2 days as he and Tommy and Jen carried you through as I tried to take just a few days off. But we're back, and Adam, now we will carry you through until next Thursday, the Thursday before Christmas Eve, and then we'll be back following week to get you ready for the bowl game. I will actually be up in Charlotte on Wednesday and Thursday morning for that. We'll have some details coming up later on about that. But today is the early games signing day special brought to you by Herndon Chevrolet. We'll have Shane Beamer will be on Game Time with Heath Klein, a one-on-one exclusive interview today at 5 o'clock. Beamer will have his press conference around 4:15, and we're 4 o'clock today from the football facility over there near Williams-Brice Stadium. So we'll keep you updated throughout the day. Again, coming up following this show, I will be joined by Wes Mitchell and Chris Clark of Gamecock Central, and we will get you all the updates and news as we go from 9 a.m. to noon following this show. 803-404-6100. Again, how you can join us. Some other news real quick, Patrick. Last night, South Carolina men's basketball team, they take on Allen over at Colonial Life Arena. Not really a competition. 110-51 was the final score last night. Brandon Martin with a double-double last night, 10 points, 11 rebounds, 2 Gamecocks with 12 points. Devin Carter coming off being named SEC Freshman of the Week, and Wildens Levesque with 12 points last night. Very quickly, because we'll talk a lot of signing day, but South Carolina, that win over Florida State on Sunday, a very impressive win, not even taking into the fact that they were down 16 in the first half, but just the way they came back, the way Frank Martin made some coaching adjustments in the second half, and South Carolina pulls out a 1-point victory. Florida State with a wide open look there at the very end, but the ball clangs off the front of the rim, and the Gamecocks, after last night's victory, moved to 8-2 on the season. They'll have Clemson this coming Saturday night, Little John Coliseum, 8 p.m. Late tip-off for that one. But certainly giving kind of South Carolina fans a little bit of momentum. You got the women rolling along with no problem. They picked up the big win over Maryland a few hours later. The basketball team now kind of rolling along, and then certainly the news over the weekend of the commitments topped off by the Monday night news of Spencer Rattler and Alston Stogner. Pretty solid about 72 hours there for Gamecock fans.
A great, basically, big 5 days, I want to say. I don't know. I mean, you can't ask for much better. And yeah, for that Florida State win, I mean, James Reese said it in the post game that he thinks that was the turning point of the season. And there's a lot of reason to kind of think that that's the case. You're not going to take much from the Georgetown win other than just beating a name brand program, but the adjustments, and Frank said the same thing. It's been hard to adjust mid-game with this many new pieces, but this Florida State game, they switched to the zone and it worked, and they just tried a couple things out, and the team was able to adjust on the fly and come back against who knows where Florida State will end up, but they're ridiculously talented. I mean, you look at that team running around, and they were just long and athletic, and that's just kind of been the hallmark of Leonard Hamilton's teams, just freak athletes all over the court. So that's no small task coming back from 16 points down against a team like that, and you're not taking much from an Allen playing an Allen, but 59-point victory. I mean, you didn't take the foot off the gas at all, and there's many times that South Carolina's played very overmatched teams and played down to their level, and that did not happen last night. So you feel pretty good going into this weekend.
Yeah, another opportunity to add what I believe is a quad 2 win. I've not checked at the net rankings and the Ken Palm rankings this morning. Those things fluctuate on a night-to-night basis because of how one team does, how another team does. Kind of think South Carolina actually didn't play for several days from the Georgetown game to the Florida State game, and still moved up 10 spots there in the net rankings. But certainly South Carolina basketball getting on a little bit of a roll, and last night again, a 110-51 victory over Allen there at Colonial Life Arena for the Gamecocks, according to the official box score there. Mike Green coming in at the very end with 11 points. Brandon Martin, Keyshawn Bryant each with 10. And the Gamecocks being led by Devin Carter, who I tell you what, he's fun to watch. He's a ball of energy. They're not every play he tries to make is one where you jump out of your seat and say, great job, but he is a ball of energy and is a lot of fun to watch out there. Last night, 6 of 9 from the field, 12 points was his stat. One of the ones that I really liked, Eric Stevenson last night, not doing a lot scoring wise, just 2 of 9 from the field and scored 5 points, but did have 6 assists. The Gamecocks as a team, 31 assists, good ball movement last night for them and being able to put up 110 points.
I would maybe say that Devin Carter is the most talented player on the team, or has the most talented, because he can fly, he's active, he's good length and just a great athlete and already really confident. He's gonna be such a good player. He's not gonna be like a one and done or anything like that. I would assume, but he's so talented and he's already hitting his stride. And the 4 points late in the Florida State game, having just all the confidence in the world to be the guy with the ball in his hands at the end of the game, that says a lot for a freshman when you're not talking about a McDonald's All-American who comes in and is immediately the focal point of the team. Devin Carter just kind of seizing that role this early with a pretty talented roster around him and a deep roster, and he's kind of standing out right now in the early part of the season. It is very impressive. I like this kid a lot.
Fun team to watch. We'll see. They obviously another big opportunity Saturday night on the road there at Clemson. You win that one, you add another quality win to the resume. They'll have games against Army and South Carolina State remaining on the non-conference portion of the schedule before opening conference play with Auburn on, I believe, January 4th. That'll be a Tuesday night here at Colonial Life Arena. So not much there in terms of the opponent, but Patrick is 110% right. Anytime you can absolutely blow out your opponent, that's exactly what South Carolina does last night as they roll 110-51 over Allen at Colonial Life Arena. That's not something we've always seen from them, and this team seems to be right now gelling and coming together. The only down part last night, A.J. Wilson going down with a knee injury. I heard Frank Martin in the postgame say that he will have an MRI today, and they will know more regarding his injury, but certainly not good news there. But you need to get A.J. Wilson back. So that's the only downside to last night. But again, South Carolina with a 110-51 victory last night over Allen there at Colonial Life Arena. 803-404-6100 is how you can join us this morning. Daddy-O on the Buford Lending live stream saying we should just rename National Signing Week Garnet Week because we are about to start owning it. And we'll get into that a little bit here as we roll through. Signing day officially upon us. Patrick and I will look at some of the positions and talk about some of the players.
Isn't it all less exciting knowing that there's really no decision to be made today? I mean, when the big thing is just crossing your fingers that all the NLIs come in from the players that you actually have gotten committed. But there's no big battle that we're going to be watching today. There's no name to watch, really.
I think
because Ramon Brown, I think, was the one that going into today we were thinking, okay, well maybe he's kind of the last guy. And other than that, there's no battles. And Ramon Brown commits to Maryland yesterday, flips to Maryland from Virginia Tech. So that kind of ends that.
You know, I having done. I guess I've been a part now in some way, shape, or form of 14 or 15 straight signing days, dating back to 07, I believe, was the first year I ever did. Used to travel to Atlanta a lot. They would have a big signing day ceremony over there at Jen would have loved it, at the Mario Andretti Raceway little park. Yeah, it was actually it was bumper cars, speed, the kind of like going out to Frankie's Fun Park.
Stop it. Are you kidding me?
They would have a big deal over there.
We go there.
Sure.
Fine, it'd be team building.
Why not? I assume it's still open. I haven't been in years. But yeah, I would go over there. I'd go over there for that every year because they would bring all the teams in from the Atlanta area, and they would, any kid that signed, they'd put them up. It was actually a really cool event, and I would be over 70 or 80 high schools that would come in that day throughout the day. They had food set up for them. They actually did a really neat, really good job for it. But that was always neat. I used to go over to that a lot. I remember being at Victor Hampton's announcement, AJ Can going to his party that he had down in Bamberg. So there was a lot of really neat stories. I remember probably the craziest one was working for the BigSpur.com and sitting at a Pizza Hut I have no clue where we were at, Bamberg or somewhere, and waiting to hear if we needed to go cover Justin Parker, the linebacker out of Buford, if we had to go to Justin Parker's announcement or go back up the road to Darlington to go to Victor Hampton's announcement, because it was South Carolina Clemson for Justin Parker, and they weren't sure where he was going to commit. He would end up going to Clemson. So I was given instructions to go to Darlington. So there was some interesting signing days for me
I bet that was fun.
early on in my career. Did a lot of traveling around with Dana Harley, Spool as he goes by on the message boards when he was taking pictures. So it was always very, very interesting. But we'll talk about this. 803-404-6100. John K weighing in. You guys probably touched on this, but is Rattler a one and done? We'll talk about that. I haven't talked about Spencer Rattler, and my thought, look,
He doesn't have to be.
I was 110% wrong, Patrick. We talked about Spencer Rattler, but early on, never thought he would end up at South Carolina. And here we sit today. And last night, by the way, Rattler and Stogner, they don't sign letters of intent. That's not how it works. Spencer Rattler and Austin Stogner will not officially sign today as transfers. Now, what they did do last night is they signed financial aid and agreement sheets. I don't know how much that ties them to South Carolina. Basically, you're waiting for them to enroll, and it looks like that they will enroll here the first part of January and be there for winter workouts.
Think they'll be able to get the classes they want?
I'm sure it'll be no problem.
Just kidding.
I'm sure it'll be no problem. By the way, if you didn't hear it, really, really good interview last night by Heath Klein with the sideline announcer. I forget his name because it's not on Heath's Twitter account. He just puts Plank Sports on there. But if you've not heard it, go to our podcast page, 1075thegame.com, and go to the podcast page. Heath has got a fantastic interview up that you can hear at some point today if you'd like, with the Oklahoma sideline reporter. And it talks a lot about Spencer Rattler. One of my favorite comments on there is the guy who was, again, sideline reporter during the game, saying that he would go home and see all these fans talking about things that Spencer Rattler did on the sideline and his bad attitude on the sideline. And the sideline reporter saying, I was there. I didn't see any of that. That never happened. That's just fans making stuff up to cause controversy.
Really? So are you saying Clemson Sean was wrong?
Yes, possibly so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yes, but also there was clips from the QB1 show.
Yeah, there are things that he's done that have been caught on camera that you're like, yeah, not the best look. But go listen to that interview. A really good interview, and it's worth your time. 1075thegame.com is where you can go. You can go to our podcast page and click on that. We'll talk about Spencer Rattler because certainly I've yet to weigh in on that, and it was.
I think the guy's name is Cooper Patagna.
Okay, there you go. I would not have guessed that.
I don't know.
Would
That was one of the people they've had on.
So we will continue to get into that. You're listening to the early game on 1075 The Game.
Our early signing day special, sponsored by Herndon Chevrolet. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown Chevy dealer. Stop by our showroom today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. We'll be back with more early signing day special on 1075 The Game.
Oh, it's Wednesday. It is Wednesday, December 15th. That means it's about 9 days away from Christmas Eve. It also might mean you have a Christmas party this weekend, and that means family coming over, friends coming over. If you're doing that, it means you better have a nice, clean house. Better be in touch with Zero Res. That's right, the company that makes sure your carpets, your upholstery, your rugs, your tile all look insanely clean. Call them today to book your cleaning. It's not too late before the family arrives. 803-262-4020. You can book online, ZeroResColumbia.com. Right now, if you call Zero Res, 803-262-4020, you can get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $119. And when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 1075 The Game, you'll get your hallway cleaned for free. Again, you can book them with a phone call, 803-262-4020, or you can book online, ZeroResColumbia.com. Allow them to show up at your house and use their patented ZR water technology. So incredible and scientifically proven to get your carpet, rugs, tile, and upholstery insanely clean. The holiday season is upon us. That means family coming over, people coming through your house. I cannot recommend Zero Res enough to be the company to make sure it stays clean and your carpets, rugs, tile, and upholstery stay looking to perfection. 803-262-4020 or book online, zerorescolumbia.com. Call them right now. 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119. And when you mention me, Bill Gunner at 1075 The Game, you'll get your hallway cleaned for free. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
Chris Plank from the Sooner Football Network. Is it? Is that? So he's the sideline for their play-by-play. Is that who he is? He's the sideline guy for their play-by-play. I think definitely no one until after 7. I think you're not allowed to sign until 7, right? That's what Hale said yesterday. It starts at 7. I could be wrong. I don't know. That is insane.
I have obviously missed a show or two along the way. Where is Will? Is he on an extended vacation? What's going on with Will?
I guess he's not listening at all right now. Todd's an idiot.
Oh, well. Woo! Brian, 6 chilly miles. That is, I've been trying to swim. I've been going to the gym and swimming, except I might have gotten a little brouhaha with I'll turn this on in case Jim talks. With a lady the other day. That really ticked me off. I was at the gym and I went to go in the swimming lane, and there was a lady outside of the pool wearing long pants who yelled at me that I was in her swimming lane. And she was talking. She was talking to somebody in another swimming lane. Like, they were having a conversation back and forth. So I get in there to do my laps back and forth just because it's better for my knee. It's helped actually tremendously. And the lady's like, excuse me, I'm in this lane.
In pants outside?
No, it was inside. It said the Move Fitness there, but yeah,
Yeah.
she was outside the pool in pants talking
That's
to a
what I
lady and I was just like, well, you're not in the pool and you have long pants on, so would have never figured that out. I could hear her
Wow.
mutter to the other girl as I walked across. She's like, I did. She's like, man, I hope I didn't offend him. I was like, well, you didn't. I'm just thinking, like, you didn't offend me. Just it's a gym. It's not time to talk. It's work out. Work out.
Yeah.
Do what you're supposed to
Do your thing.
So 6 miles, Brian. The running days are over. If I have to run from you, you're just going to catch me. No, Chuck, I'm not getting that lake looks very cold right now. I am most definitely not getting in the lake. Morning, Travis. So who all is going to the bowl game? How many of you great listeners, interactors on the live stream are going to the bowl game? Let's see. Yeah, that water temperature is cold. Patrick might be a little busy tonight, but if y'all would like, we can do a late edition early game, maybe later tonight if you keep an eye on Twitter and just kind of recap the day. I think I'm asking about the bowl game. I think they've got this event on Wednesday night at Ink and Ivy that I'm going to go to because I've got to go up there. We're going to do shows from up there on Wednesday morning, I'll be at a Bojangles. Patrick will be here, and then Thursday morning. So I think I'm going to go to that Ink and Ivy deal. I was texting with James Wolfe, the Charlotte Gamecock Club president, yesterday. I assume when y'all say you're going to the bowl game, most of you are driving up the morning of the bowl game. I don't think I'm going to go to the game though. I think as soon as the pregame show is over,
You're gonna come back.
I'm either going to go watch it from a bar with everybody, but I don't know how many people are going to be there that are going to watch it from a bar. So
That's what I did for the Belk Bowl. I drove up from Maryland to Charlotte to watch it at a bar.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, Craig. I think they've got a big event at Ink and Ivy on Wednesday night, and they're doing the Paint Charlotte Garnet deal.
So I'm a few minutes late, but a whirlwind of a day. Was in Miami for lunch today on a recruiting visit.
Sponsored by Herndon Chevrolet.
Expect nothing less than the best from Herndon Chevrolet.
Your hometown Chevy dealer, bringing you low prices and great service. The early game with Bill, Patrick, and Jen on your home of the Gamecocks.
Touchdown, Gamecocks.
107.5, the game.
Happy early signing day to you. We look up at the SEC Network here in our luxurious studios right off of Gervais Street, and the SEC Now, the SEC Network channel, just showing us a beautiful picture of a fax machine, Patrick. It is that time of the year. I think that Southern football states in particular really get into National Signing Day. I remember following Phil Kornblut years ago when I was, in the 90s and listening to signing day reports with my father as they would come in. I'm trying to remember the two running backs that captured my attention first. Lavernius Coles was one of them who went to Florida State. He was originally a running back. South Carolina was in on him in the 90s. I want to say the mid 90s. He obviously would go on to Florida State and play wide receiver and have an incredible career, go on to the NFL. And I want to say it was Rayshawn Drayton, a running back out of the Pennsylvania area that South Carolina, I believe it was Brad Scott landed, who never made it to campus, but was considered a big-time running back that a lot of people thought would come in and do things. There is just something that I think if you follow college basketball, you follow your team, it's a breath of fresh air. It's new blood coming into the program. It's the hope that this is the class, that takes you to that unprecedented next land. And that's what you got today for programs across the country. Even if you're a Clemson fan, you're sitting there today going, hey, we only got 12 guys, but look at these 12 guys.
Yeah.
We got the number one quarterback in the country. We got Antonio Williams. They got Jaron, I think it's Kunick, the linebacker out of Kansas. Got a couple offensive linemen. So even if you're Clemson and your class is a little bit less, you say, hey, this is just a build back to winning ACC championships. And if you're a South Carolina fan, Patrick, Spencer Rattler does not count. Teddy D hits us up and asks, does he count toward recruiting rankings on Rivals and 24/7 Sports? Nope. He does not. But we'll talk about that commitment to South Carolina. It was massive. What does it mean in terms of wins and losses? I have no clue yet. But perception-wise, very big. It is the early signing day special on 107.5 The Game. Bill Gunner, Patrick Pratt, and Jen Jensen. We'll continue on.
With live local radio.
107.5.
You know who Lavernius Coles played for in the NFL? You know how he ended up there? He was traded from Washington for it was a player-for-player swap.
That would have been late 90s?
No.
When was it?
Early 2000s.
Early 2000s? Who was it?
Santana Moss.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
That was
Shortly after or before, I can't remember, we traded for Clinton Portis. Yeah, we traded for Clinton Portis.
Who'd you trade for Clinton Portis?
2 player-for-player swaps. Lavernius Coles for Santana Moss and Clinton Portis for Champ Bailey.
Champ Bailey to Denver, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, T, you got some club seats. I sat in the club seats for the Virginia game, and it was because of the access to the bar with the Crown and Sprite. It made getting through that game a lot easier back then for the Virginia game. I was actually pretty numb to everything by the fourth quarter. Just had the kids with me. It's a good time. It's a good time. They got 3 offensive linemen committed. Ryan Brubaker, Kason Henry, and Grayson Maines are the 3 offensive linemen. And then they will probably hit the transfer portal for another tackle. Is I think the direction they will go there with that. So let's see here if Patrick's going to kind of be in charge of keeping an eye out, maybe on the Twitter to see.
Yeah. I'll be refreshing.
See who shows up here. I tell you what.
I will turn on my notifications for Gamecock football tweets right now. All right. I got the notifications on.
Patrick is ready to go. Now we have got you 2 more hours. Let's see, players expected to enroll early. I need to. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, Chuck, they've got that trend. I was talking to somebody at 24/7 about that the other day. They've got to mess with the algorithms a little bit, but yeah, you're right. You're right. Man, how they do that stuff is crazy and weird. But yeah, they do have a transfer ranking now. South Carolina technically has only got 2 transfers right now, although 2 of the biggest transfers.
Who's the biggest skill position transfer?
I'm going to bring that up actually because I think that's an easy answer.
Is an Oklahoma kid?
I think it's an Oklahoma kid who's already committed to a school close to here, just about a block away.
There's no one else that's like a huge name that's transferring.
I mean, Hazelwood is another 5-star
Yeah,
guy.
Hazelwood's a big one.
Was Miles Brennan 5-star? But I don't know if Miles Brennan.
I'm talking about skill position players. Like, what wide receivers are in the portal besides the Oklahoma guys?
That's it for now.
I can't think of any other huge
names. There's nobody. There's no other big names. Yeah, that's right. Robin, this is where you tell it's movie day. It's just movie day. I'd play maybe can you play the new animated Grinch? Is that allowed in school? Is that I mean, yeah, Copeland, Jacob Copeland is a good one there, Jason. He's a pretty big name.
Zach Evans is a big one.
Zach Ed, well, yeah, he's
Talking about skill position players.
yeah.
Tyon Evans.
Yeah, he's already going to Louisville. Did you see
Yep.
that? Yep, he's
Taj Harris looks like maybe the highest rated receiver, or after Theo Weiss is the highest graded receiver. And Jen Hazelwood. Jake Bobo. Who's Jake Bobo?
wide receiver from Duke.
Yeah, but is he related?
No.
Never heard of another Bobo before.
How about there's another Bobo out there.
Thought he had a kid that played.
7-5, the game.
Sorry I'm a few minutes late, but a whirlwind of a day. Was in Miami for lunch today on a recruiting visit.
Sponsored by Herndon Chevrolet,
Expect nothing less than the best from Herndon Chevrolet.
your hometown Chevy dealer, bringing you low prices and great service. The early game with Bill, Patrick, and Jeff on your home of the Gamecocks.
Touchdown, Gamecocks.
107.5, the game.
Hour number 2, Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen here on an early signing day, and we've got you covered all day long right here on 107.5. The game coming up after this show, I will be joined in studio. 6 hours of me today. I've already done one. Boy, aren't you lucky? Or boy, are you going to be very unhappy? Either one of the two. 6 hours of me today. You get Wes Mitchell and Chris Clark joining me from Gamecock Central from 9 a.m. to noon. We'll have a full signing day special with the guys from Gamecock Central who will be in studio. We'll keep you updated with all the recruiting news and rumors throughout the day. Shane Beamer's press conference later this afternoon as he will talk about his first full recruiting class, Patrick. A class right now that features 21 young men, if I've got the number right. I think maybe DQ Smith took it to number 22 last night. South Carolina allowed to sign 23 players in this class, and then they will work forward with extra scholarships because of transfers. So we'll get into that a little bit, but we've got you covered. That'll be Shane Beamer addressing his first full recruiting class at the University of South Carolina here later this afternoon around 4 o'clock. And then you can hear at 5 o'clock a exclusive one-on-one interview. Heath Klein, our own Heath Klein, sitting down to speak with Shane Beamer regarding this recruiting class. And National Signing Day used to be all about February, the first Wednesday in February, but now we have invented the early signing day, and South Carolina looks to take advantage of that today by signing 21 prospects. DeQuandre Smith, or DQ Smith, out of Spring Valley High School, who committed last night, not expected to sign today. The belief, according to both news outlets, Gamecock Central and thebigspur.com, is that he will wait. He will enroll in the month of August and count toward next year's class. So that's where things stand today. If you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100. That's how you can join us this morning. You can do so on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. You can also hit us up on the Love Chevy phone lines. A couple of you said, yeah, 24/7 Sports has a transfer ranking. I was actually talking to one of their guys yesterday about it. The algorithms, they still got to do some things with their transfer rankings. At some point, they will actually be factored into the actual recruiting rankings, but I think
they need to be.
They're trying to figure that out. Yeah, and here's part of today. It is fun. It is interesting to watch the evolution, Patrick, of signing day as it pertains to high school players. It's now interesting to watch the evolution with the transfer portal, because two of the two largest names, I think, fair to say, the two largest names that will be joining this class for South Carolina are not high school recruits. They are Spencer Rattler and Austin Stogner. And Rattler in particular, you know what you get with him. You get a lot of talent. There's no doubt on the talent level that he brings. The question will be, can he help raise the talent around him? Can Spencer Rattler make Josh Vann a better wide receiver? Does he enhance Jaheim Bell? What does he do for E.J. Jenkins? What does he do for, say, a Landon Sampson who's a freshman that is expected to contribute next year? Austin Stogner, his
Does he
teammate.
cover up the offensive line struggles?
Right. That'll be the million-dollar question in terms of what Spencer Rattler does for wins and losses to be determined, right? Like, you got to get him to the first game. Georgia State, the opening game, you got to get him to that game. You got to get him, whatever the offense looks like, whomever the offensive coordinator is, whatever the situation is with South Carolina's offense. What you can say in the present on December 15th is South Carolina landing the most prized recruit in the transfer portal. And that's what Spencer Rattler was. He was the most prized recruit, without a doubt, has brought national recognition to Shane Beamer and to the University of South Carolina, to the point that there are other transfer portal wide receivers going, oh, okay, wait, that guy's going there and I can go play with him for 1 year because somebody asked us earlier, is Spencer Rattler a one and done? Well, I can guarantee you that's his plan. That was his plan, Patrick, going into the season at Oklahoma, that it was his final season at Oklahoma, that he would have a great junior season at Oklahoma. He would swing by New York. He would scoop up his Heisman Trophy. He would go get fitted for his tux, and he would be the number one pick in the upcoming NFL draft. It didn't work that way. But now he's coming to Columbia with the intention of being a one-and-done player. And you know what? If you're a South Carolina fan, you sit here on December 15th and you say, I hope Spencer Rattler, in the good way, is a one-and-done player. Because if he's one and done, it means he had a terrific, what will be technically, because of COVID, technically, his junior year. He's senior. This stuff's driving me insane with that kind of stuff. But you hope he has a terrific year. He wins 8 or 9 games, and he goes on to the NFL. And then we try to figure out, does he count to be South Carolina's first quarterback drafted in about 25 years, 30 years or some number?
There's no saying that he wouldn't just go pro either way. And he's just saying, look, I need to be somewhere that I'm actually going to start, and no matter what happens, I'm going pro. Because that's it. I was never planning on being in college in this long in the first place. I'm doing my extra year. 4 years of college, I'll have a degree. I'm getting out of there. And there's no saying that it would mean tons of success on the field for South Carolina either. Like, he could play well and make some highlight reel throws, and that could be enough for a team to take a chance on him. Because I think Spencer Rattler, I know Spencer Rattler would have gotten drafted this year. He would have been a first-round pick. He wouldn't have been the number one pick.
Would not have been a first-round pick.
No way. Yeah. But you don't just let a talent like that slide through. I mean, maybe he would have been a fourth-round pick, fifth-round pick. I don't know. But the talent level is off the chart. So he's going to get drafted whenever he decides to enter the draft. But obviously he wants to prove himself and play in Tommy was referencing yesterday an article about wanting his personal quarterback coach wanting him to play in a pro-style offense. So maybe that's what he's trying to prove. And does it result in more wins? Maybe, maybe not. But that's what he wants to prove.
Aren't you curious what was in that conversation, though? Because as bad as the offense was this year, what is driving him to come here? I mean, yeah, like you said, he could have some plays that, end up on a highlight reel and stuff like that. But he doesn't want to just come to garbage. Like there has to be something in mind or something he sees or the coaches have convinced him of for him to come and join this offense.
Well, having covered a lot of recruiting, these kids, they think that they're the answer. Well, I mean, there's a lot of it's a sales job as a college coach, and this is where I would not succeed, and I don't know if a lot of you would, and to cater to and to pamper and to text. I mean, I know a lot of you probably do it with your children if you've got teenage children, but to cater to egos that I'm kind of glad I don't have to do the recruiting thing anymore with going and following recruits because of now what social media has become and the ego that it can build. But you're selling a kid on, hey, we need you to make this work. My thoughts, my plan works. I just need a guy like you that makes it work. And you say, well, if you're Satterfield, if you're Beamer, you're not throwing anybody under the bus, but you go, hey, we had 3 quarterbacks play this year. We had 3 quarterbacks start multiple games. If we had a guy like you, a guy like you, man, it works. This will work
Although
wonders.
you didn't start 3 quarterbacks because of quarterback inefficiency. You
Well,
started 3 quarterbacks because they all got hurt.
right. But that's kind of the part of it is you say, "Wait, look, you're the talent." And look, that's feeding into the ego of a lot of
But
kids.
to Patrick's point is we started 3 quarterbacks, not because they weren't playing efficiently, but because they got hurt. So
He's
are we
like
guaranteeing he's going to get protected?
No.
Well, look, Luke Doty got his foot stepped on. That was kind of a freak accident. Zeb Nolan got his hand stepped on laying on the ground, and Jason Brown didn't get hurt. He performed poorly.
Zeb Nolan also might have gotten concussed in the Texas A&M
that may
game,
have happened as
so.
well. That may have happened as well. But yeah, at the end of the day, you get the kids coming in, but it's big from a perception standpoint right now. Things will change. Things are going to evolve over the next 9 months, over the next year, as South Carolina plays their second year under Shane Beamer and how Spencer Rattler does, and so forth and so on.
Somebody has already complained about the way you say his name.
Rattler.
Yeah, that's not how you were saying it.
Rattler.
You're saying Rattler.
He's going to rattle everybody.
Like a baby's rattle.
Rattler. But I think at the end of the day, what you get with this is right. You take the here and now. 9 months. We will get a final answer on how all this plays out. That's it. But you enjoy the here and now of what you got and the hope of the future. I asked this yesterday on Twitter real quick. With his presence, and look, I don't know what's going to happen with Luke Doty and with Jason Brown. Luke Doty and Colton Gauthier shouldn't worry about this because, again, the plan here is probably to be a one and done. And Luke Doty, quite honestly, needs development. Luke Doty last year as a quarterback, in 2019, probably coaching malpractice by Mike Bobo and Will Muschamp to move him from wide receiver to quarterback to wide receiver to bounce him around and really only get, if I understand correctly, about a month and a half of quarterback play. Remember, Luke Doty enrolled early, but didn't really get to go to a spring practice with Mike Bobo because of COVID and everything that happened. So he didn't really get a chance to develop there. Then we start 2019 fall practice, and they move him to wide receiver because they needed help and they wanted to get him on the field. So he's not really taking all the reps at quarterback. Then you finally move him back. He gets about a month and a half of quarterback work with Bobo. He goes into the spring. He actually gets a full spring under Marcus Satterfield, but then he's hurt, Patrick, a week and a half into fall camp?
Was that 3 weeks, a month before the season?
Yeah, it was a week and a half into fall camp. Luke Doty still has a lot of developing to do, and whether he stays at South Carolina or goes somewhere else, he's going to have to develop. This is a great opportunity for him to develop a little bit slower behind a guy that's projected to be pretty good. It's a chance for Luke Doty to spend some time developing and not have all the pressure put on him right away. And Colton Gauthier, the same thing. Colton Gauthier, for people saying, well, Gauthier might transfer. Well, guess what? He came here understanding Luke Doty would probably be the starter initially. I think you worry too much. The guy who might transfer, if that ever were to happen, if it does happen, is Jason Brown, because Jason Brown has 1 year to play, and that's fair. And if that's the case, you thank Jason Brown for what he did this year. And you say, man, if it wasn't for you, we probably don't go to a bowl.
And if you don't go to a bowl, why not have Spencer Rattler on your team?
So, you know what? If Jason Brown transfers, you thank him. Hey, what you did against Florida, what you did against Auburn, we owe you. Thank you. Thank you. Please have 1 year, do something great, and go to the NFL. That's how if you're worried about the quarterback situation, and if you're worried about it, you're worried about the complete wrong things. The quarterback, Patrick, we're watching it yesterday. As of yesterday afternoon, I saw the tweet. 13 out of, I think, the 65 Power 5 conferences have had a starting or backup, either first team or second team quarterback transfer so far this offseason. And you've seen some big names. We've seen Spencer. We've seen Miles Brennan. We've seen Adrian Martinez. He's a big name. He's not a good quarterback. But Adrian Martinez is transferring. You've seen now Max Johnson, 2 LSU quarterbacks transferring. Zach Calzada. I think that tweet yesterday went out before Zach Calzada said he was entering the transfer portal from Texas A&M. So the bottom line is this is going to happen, but this is a huge addition for South Carolina right now. We'll find out what it means in terms of wins and losses when we get to September. But at least right now, It's created national news, it's created excitement, and that's exactly what Shane Beamer needs for this program now going into an offseason where he'll at least get a bowl game and a chance to finish above 500.
Well, he's without a doubt the most talented quarterback that's ever played for this school, right? There's no really argument there.
Pure talent, potential. Todd Ellis, a lot of, I mean, again, he was, you go back then, the 80s, Ellis was considered the number one recruit, the number one quarterback recruit coming out of at that time. I mean, I'm with you. I don't know. Things that we look at
And
now versus then, I don't, but he's certainly up there.
I mean, things will have to go very poorly for him not to be the highest drafted. Well, really, if you want to count how the draft is now, the only drafted quarterback South Carolina's ever had.
Right.
Because Todd Ellis was the last quarterback South Carolina's had drafted, and he was drafted in the ninth round. So in the 7-round modern draft, he will be South Carolina's more than likely first draft pick at quarterback. And that's not even saying he's going to do really well, then he's going to go pro. Like he can have South Carolina can go 6-6 again. He can be pretty good and still have some off days. And just because of who he is and how ridiculous his arm is, there's going to be a coach in the NFL that's going to say, you know what, just use a pick on him. I'm going to be the one that can fix him. So that's going to happen. But will you look back in, 3 years when South Carolina is a 10-win team and say Spencer Rattler was the reason for this? That remains to be seen. And I mean, I was actually surprised yesterday. I thought coming in here it would be maybe a little more polarizing or people would be a little hesitant, but I think 99% of the comments we got were just all in like, yeah, let's go. This is awesome. And then the Clemson fans that were saying whatever, but very few South Carolina fans were coming in with what are we doing here? I mean, this guy wasn't even good enough to be the starter on his team. I think everyone rightfully was just fired up overall because it's just a unique situation.
They should be. They should be. Now, again, what happens in the season that to be determined. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, now that Spencer Rattler is here, like 9-3. No, there's no need in projecting victories. But what I can tell you to do this today and moving forward is enjoy it. See what happens when the season comes around, but enjoy it. There is some news. 2 letters of intent have arrived at the at the Gamecock football office. It got going
I
with
did something wrong because I tried to subscribe to the Gamecock football tweets and they didn't give me
Patrick's so excited he's not getting Twitter correctly. Braden Davis, another quarterback, the quarterback of this class, is officially in Gamecock football, putting out the tweet just about 6 minutes ago. So
They do that on purpose.
The quarterback recruit, what?
Like make sure that the quarterback's the first person
I don't know.
signed.
He might have just been wanting to do that.
Because Colton Gauthier was the first one last year.
Was he? Might have just been a new tradition there for him. And then Kaysen Henry, out of Marietta, Georgia, 6'6", 290-pound offensive lineman, is in. Braden Davis, we'll talk a little bit about him. He will be in the Under Armour All-American game in January, so you'll get a chance to see him in an All-Star game. But again, another quarterback, and this is an area that Shane Beamer talked about back during fall camp. We'll talk about that. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Our early signing day special, sponsored by Herndon Chevrolet. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown Chevy dealer. Stop by our showroom today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
We'll be back with more early signing day special on 107.5 The Game.
From the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center, Shepherd's Glass, the true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com. I-26 eastbound at Sunset Boulevard, still a report.
Who's correct? Who are you referencing here? I don't even know what that means. Does any quarterback play?
I think he's just talking about his statistics.
140 what?
I think that's. I don't know if that was his stats. 140 of 187. Is that what he's saying? 140 for.
140 and 187.
I took that. That's what that meant.
Was that his? I didn't even see the 7.
Yeah, attempts and completions. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, just I think there's more and more stuff coming out too about potentially what was going on with Lincoln Riley this year at
Well, I had seen lots of breakdowns that the decision-making process was not there for Spencer Rattler this year. He was resting on his laurels and trying to think that he can just make every throw and making bad decisions. Two picks against Tulane. Nebraska. 1 touchdown against Nebraska. Picks in the next 3 games, and he got benched.
well, and they got down big to what was it? The
5 picks in 6 games, basically, as a starter.
it's Rattler? Rattler.
Yeah.
Rattler. Rat like rat.
I mean, Rattler isn't necessarily wrong. It's just it could be just how you say it, but yeah, it's Rattler.
Yeah, Rattler's right, but if you want to just go Rattler, okay. Emphasize the rat part. I wasn't trying to emphasize rat on there.
Maybe I can hit you upside the head with a rattle every time you mispronounce. Wouldn't that be fun for the live stream? Okay, he can't hear it, so I'm thinking that's a yes.
Trying to debate whether I should eat at any point this morning, but I guess I'll eat when I'm done.
Is Jen just dropping?
I don't know.
One-liners
Yeah, I
back
don't know.
You guys have it set up where you can't hear me, so I just said, can you hear me now?
Yes, now we're cutting you on where we can listen to. I don't ever think to cut this on.
Who is Big Game Boomer? The Twitter page.
Apparently, it's
Why do they like South Carolina so much?
because apparently it was a initially an Oklahoma like type thing, Boomer,
Of course.
and now they've like expanded out, but because they're out of Oklahoma, we're Oklahoma fans, is what I was told. That they love Shane, like they apparently know
No,
Shane.
but they were doing this when Muschamp was still the coach. For some reason, they just love South Carolina because they're
was-
always taking shots at Clemson as well.
I'm not sure.
Whoever that Twitter page is must have some sort of South Carolina because they always put Clemson as like worst for everything.
Jen, what did you say where Heather felt the need to say yes, Jen, and then somebody said you're hurtful and mean spirited?
And earlier, everyone was laughing
we
about
get a
something.
repeat on that?
Earlier, people were laughing about something Jen said.
Yeah.
I said, you said it was National Cupcake Day, and I said, oh, so it's a day for the ACC conference.
Ah.
And then I was talking about your mispronunciation of Rattler, and I said, well, every time you say his name incorrectly, I'm going to hit you upside the head with a rattle, and it'd be fun for the live stream to watch.
Well, technically, I'm not saying it incorrectly. I'm just apparently drawing out. I guess I have to go rat.
You're Southern.
I did not
See?
want to go rat.
Or just
DC says, show us.
you're putting D's.
I know I'm not. I've hit
Rattler,
the T's.
Rattler,
But I would say Rattler.
Rattler. But you're just. It sounds like D's. Rattler.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying.
And then no, American John. Yeah, the South Carolina box score has Mike Green with 11.
best from Herndon Chevrolet.
Your hometown Chevy dealer, bringing you low prices and great service. The early game with Bill, Patrick, and Jen on your home of the Gamecocks.
Touchdown, Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
803-404-6100. It is the 107.5 The Game early signing day special. Myself and Patrick Perrette getting you off to the start early on. Jen Jensen weighing in behind the scenes on the Buford Lending live stream with some apparently threatened physical violence if I don't start saying Spencer Rattler's name correctly. I don't know where you're going to go find a baby Rattler at this time of the morning. Jen has already threatened to hit me, but you can listen to
I can improvise.
Yeah, you can listen to Jen's comments on the Buford Lending live stream as well as right here. If you want to join us, 803-404-6100. Again, coming up after our program, Wes Mitchell and Chris Clark of Gamecock Central will sit in with me from 9 a.m. until noon as we break down the signing class for South Carolina. 2 in, no more correct yet. Now's when the information starts picking up, fast and furious. Braden Davis, the 4-star quarterback out of Delaware, now in officially, and Kaysen Henry, 3-star offensive lineman, 6'6", 290 pounds, out of Marietta, Georgia, initially committed to South Carolina over North Carolina, has signed his letter of intent and is in as well. If you got thoughts or opinions, we'd love to hear from you. Again, 803-404-6100, how you can do so this morning. We'll get more into this recruiting class as we go along. First, let's get back out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Caleb wants to weigh in on the recruiting class. Caleb, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
Their defense did not do good against Clemson, and so we're going to need them to do very good in UNC because they have a very good running back. They got some good wide receivers, so if our defense can pull up, we might have a chance to win the Duke Mayonnaise game.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. The Duke's Mayo Bowl, Patrick. South Carolina started practice for that on Monday afternoon. Thank you for the phone call, Caleb.
Caleb called in the middle of class yesterday.
In the middle of class?
Yeah, there were so many kids in the background.
Okay. Yeah. Well, good job. Good job, Caleb. All right. Stick to the learning part right now. We plenty of you got 2 off weeks you can call in. But Patrick, that is another element we're kind of not talking about today, but obviously South Carolina getting ready for the Duke's Mayo Bowl. One guy that we now know definitely not going to be there after yesterday, Kevin Harris. What did you make of Kevin Harris's comment? We're just asked about Zaquandre White and like, yeah, he's gone.
Well, Kevin Harris does not like doing interviews.
It's also
you
true.
Watch any time that he has to do a press conference, every answer is as short as it could possibly be. So I'm not surprised. It's short and sweet and to the point. No, he's gone. Okay. So where is he? I assume Florida or California because that's where everybody trains for the NFL draft. So, yeah, I mean, he's not going to be there. It was pretty clear he wasn't going to be there, but gave us all the information we needed.
That was a good point. So South Carolina, we'll get more into bowl talk and prep here in the coming days, but I agree. Caleb did kind of hit on something there. This class for South Carolina, Patrick, we've been talking about Spencer Rattler and the quarterback situation. Braden Davis now signed, and that will at least give, even if Jason Brown transfers out, that will give South Carolina some quarterback competition, and they need competition so badly. That room needs guys trying to push each other to get better. I do think Spencer Rattler brings that to this particular situation. We'll see again how everything else works out, but this should push Luke Doty. It should push Colton Gauthier. You get Braden Davis in. That'll also just help with practice and having quality quarterbacks to go against your defense. And the other part of that, this signing class for South Carolina, Patrick, is heavy on some defensive players. You look at it, the defensive backs, South Carolina taking multiple defensive backs, highlighted by Keenan Nelson. What he ends up playing is to be determined. Safety or cornerback, 6'2", 200 pounds, out of Pennsylvania, chose South Carolina over Penn State. Was a guy that Penn State really did want.
It's another powerhouse program there, St. Joe's Prep in Philly.
And he will be a part of the U.S. Army All-American game January 8th. But 6'1", 6'2", 200 pounds. That's a guy, again, expected to be in school here in the not-too-distant future. And that's a guy that, again, you look at that could come in next year in that secondary that had some problems at times and make an impact.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're going down the list, who's going to be the earliest and biggest contributor as freshmen? Because we are an instant gratification society. So, I mean, we're going to look at the offensive linemen and say, all right, that's great that we got offensive linemen because we need to improve the offensive line, but none of them are going to play this year. Or at least if any of them start as freshmen, it's a bad sign. Who is actually going to contribute the most as freshmen? And I kind of think the answer is pretty easy if you go offense, defense. I think offensively, the answer is Landon Sampson.
Mhm.
And defensively, it's probably one of the linebackers, J-Sean Barham or Stone Blanton, because physically they're the most kind of college game ready, SEC ready, with 230 pounds for Barham, 220 pounds for Blanton, and they're both just stout kids. So probably one of those two. But outside of that, you just based off kind of the prestige they have as a recruit or come in with the accolades. Yeah, Keenan Nelson. I mean, safety is definitely a need. The rangy, ball hawking type players in the secondary are always going to be necessary. South Carolina played a ton of guys this year in the secondary, and when you're relying on grad transfers to come in right away and start, and it's definitely a position of need. So I think defensively, you're kind of targeting those two linebackers, and then Keenan Nelson to be the guys that if you're relying on heavy snaps as freshmen, those are probably going to be the guys that you're going to lean on.
Nelson, not an early enrollee, but the guy you just mentioned, J-Sean Barham is, and I'm with you. I think South Carolina needs playmakers on the backside of that defensive line, and whether Barham ends up being a edge type defender or he ends up playing a true linebacker spot will be kind of interesting. But he is expected to enroll early. Now, I still think that's the one. You said not a lot of suspense. The way for today, the way J-Sean Barham's recruitment went down, and a lot of smoke that it was going to be Maryland was going to be the pick on Saturday afternoon, and then he ends up going to South Carolina. That's the one that I think you are closely watching today because that was a big pickup. You're right. Stone Blanton was big too, but Blanton's not going to be an early enrollee. Barham is. He can go through the winter workouts with Luke Day. He can go through the 15 spring practices with Clayton White and with that defense. And that's a guy who's got the kind of talent and skill that South Carolina hasn't had. They just don't have right now that could come in and with good coaching be a little bit better and ready to contribute very early on the defense for a group that, again, they were better in pass. They were much better against the pass this year, but we saw them at the end of the year. Missouri had no problem running the football. Tank Bigsby was able to go for 160 yards. Will Shipley goes for 128. Teams were able to run against them when they wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, when you say South, it's the type of talent South Carolina doesn't have right now. I guess it depends what position he does end up playing. Because if he does end up being that pass rusher type, South Carolina does have that type of talent right now. Because Kingsley Enagbare is going to be a first-round pick. Jordan Strawn was really good. Jordan Birch has been really good. Aaron Sterling's been playing well the last couple of years. So if we're talking about that, then yeah, they do have the talent. But it's the stand-up linebacker, sideline to sideline, run stuffers, covering tight ends, dropping back into coverage types of guys. That is what South Carolina has been sorely missing recently. So if he does end up playing that, and I assume it'll be some sort of hybrid role because that's just the direction football is going right now. So yeah, that is something South Carolina definitely needs.
Another guy that I think could come in early on and have a chance to make an impact is another defensive back, one of the first guys that committed in this class, then decommitted, then ended up recommitting, Anthony Rose, a 6'4", 190-pound. Again, this is a guy we talk about guys getting them in and trying to figure out where they fit, Patrick. This is another guy that does that, 6'4", 190 pounds, out of the Miami area. Steve Spurrier was able to go into Miami during his time recruiting here and get guys that were maybe not highly thought of, but ended up being big-time ball players for South Carolina, and Anthony Rose kind of fits that bill.
Was Anthony Rose, did he commit, then decommit, then commit again?
Yes, correct.
Okay, that's the one. Okay. Yeah, I mean, and my three-star out of Miami. So he's not also the one that was from that they were recruiting like the whole secondary.
Yes,
he is,
but he had transferred schools. He was part initially of that.
Rose
has bounced around a couple different, and Javante McClendon, I think, might have been McClendon's school as well. I can't remember.
That was like Lakeland.
Lakeland, yeah.
Okay. Because I'm trying to remember when you have so many recruits and so many secondary players and so many players from Florida. I mean, I was trying to count. Is it eight states represented in this recruiting class? That's kind of what I was counting, but it spreads basically from Texas all the way up to Pennsylvania in the Northeast, and then all the way out to I guess Texas is as far west as we're going here. Is that right?
That is correct.
Texas to Florida, Delaware, Pennsylvania, Maryland. I mean, it's a they're really casting a wide net right now. I mean, that's kind of what South Carolina needs to do. I mean, the base has always been, I guess, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, but some of your biggest contributors, arguably, I mean, your biggest contributor on offense and defense are going to be from Maryland and Texas. That's kind of important.
They've got to be a little creative right now. Obviously, we know what Georgia's doing on the recruiting trail. Clemson is got a strong hold here in the Southeast, and then you go Alabama. Obviously, is a school. Tennessee's done well. North Carolina's done a very good job. That's maybe the one surprising thing about this recruiting class. You're right. You mentioned 8 guys committed, or 8 states. 8 states represented. 7, and South Carolina makes for the 8th state. The one state you don't see in here that South Carolina is going to have to make more of inroads in, and that could potentially start in 2 weeks, is the state of North Carolina. South Carolina without any commitments out of the state of North Carolina. We'll see if that's something that Shane Beamer and his staff can break into. We'll continue talking about this. It is the early signing day special here on 107.5 The Game. Again, Patrick and I and Jen will get you through the next hour and a half, and then coming up at 9 a.m., Wes Mitchell and Chris Clark will join me here in studio as we continue to roll through the early signing day special on 107.5 The Game. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrett, and Jen Jensen.
Our early signing day special, sponsored by Herndon Chevrolet. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown Chevy dealer. Stop by our showroom today and see why Herndon Chevrolet.
One second. We just had something dropped off at the station. We want to see what it is. Are these your comps, Ross? Jordy Nelson, if he's going to be a hybrid guy getting up to 230, I don't think it's going to be Jordy Nelson. But Jordan Shipley? I like that for Landon Sampson. Maybe right now he's Jordy Nelson, but it sounds like they just want to bulk the kid up. Yeah, 12 to 15 pounds. I would like to see him be Cooper Cup comp. I think that would be nice for South Carolina. That would be big. Oh, are those long sleeves? Cool. Well, Gunnar Stockton officially in.
Gunner Stockton's in, not for South Carolina.
Not for South Carolina. How many shirts did they give us? We had a food delivery from Homeworks. Thanks, Homeworks. Appreciate it. Homeworks of Columbia. Yeah, we're switching to Gamecock Central. Or Bill is switching to Gamecock Central. I'm going home and going to bed. Thank you, Roger. It's the plan. I do find it a lot more comfortable without a mustache now. It was just something I always had to constantly brush to the sides. It got annoying. What is Dave doing here at 7:45? What is Dave doing here so early? Yeah, but does he always come in an hour and 15 minutes early to work? Maybe he can come in.
I actually heard you read this liner on Monday, and you did a fantastic job, Patrick. Anytime you want to weigh in with opinion but can't get in touch with one of us, you can call the 1075 The Game and Twin Peaks Hot Take Hotline, 803-978-6654. That's if you need to vent. You can offer constructive criticism. We even accept compliments. All you got to do is call the Hot Take Hotline, brought to you by Twin Peaks, 803-978-6654. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. 803-978-6654. It is the 1075 The Game in Twin Peaks Hot Take Hotline, sponsored by Twin Peaks. For the men who never settle, you can go see them down in the Vista at 600 Gervais Street. Patrick, year ago, Shane Beamer was being introduced as the head coach. South Carolina had a quarterback commitment for this particular class. He is now
Pretty good one.
He is now signed and delivered to the University of Georgia, Gunnar Stockton. And it's funny to see where we sit a year later, because I would assume, especially a year ago when Spencer Rattler was considered, a huge Heisman favorite going into this year. But if we told you last year, well, you can have Stockton, or we'll give you another 4-star quarterback, Braden Davis, along with the top transfer in the transfer portal, I would assume a lot of you go, yeah, I'll take that. We'll go with Spencer Rattler. We'll go with Braden Davis. And Georgia, you can have Gunnar Stockton.
You think South Carolina fans would sign up for that?
I think so.
Then their own 5-star quarterback that they could have had as a freshman, a dual threat that they could have had as a freshman. And it says it right there in the tweet that the only reason it's on my timeline is because Will Muschamp retweeted it. Maybe I need to unfollow Will Muschamp at this point.
That might be the way to go.
But it is. I mean, otherwise I wouldn't have seen this. The man with the most career touchdowns in Georgia high school history heading to Athens. I think South Carolina fans would have wanted that.
Again, it's
because there would be no one saying anything negative about Gunnar Stockton because he's got all the accolades and he's got all the ability in the world. Spencer Rattler at least comes with a little bit of baggage, maybe a lot of bit of baggage. It might be more baggage than we're letting on, but I mean, a freshman versus a redshirt junior with still 3 years of eligibility.
But
I think
this is where I think the transfer portal will change everything moving forward. It's more now a win now sport than it ever has been before. The opportunity that the chances to build your program, I don't know where we started changing the timeline. The timeline, I guess, maybe 15 years ago, a new coach was given at least 5 years, unless things were an absolute dumpster fire, unless they were just a complete disaster. 15 years ago, I think coaches were given at least 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's less than that. It's less than that dramatically. And Patrick, I mean, look at what just happened down to Manny Diaz, who's now the defensive coordinator at Penn State. Well, look at what just happened to Manny Diaz, the homegrown son of Miami. What was his father? His father was the mayor of Miami. Am I right on that?
Sounds right.
Yeah, his father was the mayor of Miami. Manny Diaz was the homegrown son, comes home 6-7 his first year, 8-3 his second year, 7-5 this past year. I know they started as a top 15 team, 21-15 overall, 16-9 in the ACC, and he's out for the next hot thing. Mario Cristobal, the other homegrown son, the guy who played there, who's coached there, who's from there, whose family lives there. Like, that's the Gunnar Stockton is going to go there. Spencer Rattler is going to come to Columbia. Braden Davis is going to come to Columbia. And somebody hit us up on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line and talked about what happens if the offensive production's not good next year. Well, there's going to be a lot of upset South Carolina fans. It's no longer what kind of rebuild can you do? How quickly can you get it turned around? It's I want it now, and I want it as it needs to be now. I mean, there's a lot of fans, Patrick, who are going, yeah, Shane, excellent job. You beat the Vegas total, 4 wins. That's great. You're still 6-6. And there's people out there, and you've heard them, they're saying you should have beat Kentucky and you should have beat Missouri and you should be 8-4. College football world now, and especially with the transfer portal and being able to go and upgrade your team a lot quicker, is an entirely different industry. And I look at a guy like Gunnar Stockton, who's there with Brock Vandergriff. Who knows if what Arch Manning's going to do in the next class? or whatever he's coming up. It's wild to see where we're going with college football.
Yeah, but there's also you always have to be building too. So when you have a young quarterback, like that's why people in college football fans always want to go with the younger guy. If there's ever a tie, let's give it to the younger guy because Spencer Rattler can come in, play great, gone next year. And then who's your quarterback? Back to Luke Doty. If Luke Doty doesn't play great or Braden Davis isn't ready or Colton Gauthier is not ready, like, okay, back to square one. What are you going to do? Just continuously find the best transfer quarterback each year? So that's why I'd say just defer to the younger guy. I mean, it's a pointless hypothetical, but yeah, I just think generally you'd want a 5-star quarterback, and you want somebody that's your own. I mean, Spencer Rattler will be remembered by most college football fans as the Oklahoma quarterback, unless he ends up staying in South Carolina for a couple years and really doing big things for South Carolina. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a level to which you want to build off of having Spencer Rattler on your team. And if you're a high school sophomore or junior right now, or going into your senior year, you're not going to look at South Carolina and say, "Wow, I'm going to have the chance to play with Spencer Rattler." So it's not gonna help you going forward. It's just going to be an immediate. He'll be an immediate impact, but that's kind of all it'll be.
803-404-6100. How you can join us this morning as a couple you weigh in. Chris says, I agree with Bill 1,000%. I'll take Rattler and Davis all day over Stockton. Yeah, there would be some media breaking down Stockton and ripping him on things he doesn't do. Look, at the end of the day, it's interesting to see where South Carolina football sits a year removed uh, from where they were, this time last year. 7 commitments, I believe, was the number. It was not. It was a recruiting class that, because of COVID, because of 2-8, because of firing a coach, was not impressive. That South Carolina was going to go out and have to hit the transfer portal extremely hard. They did that. They fight their way to a bowl game, and now you sit here today, and again, as I look at the Rivals.com rankings, and this is where I think as a South Carolina fan you are excited, and you do have hope. You have great hope for the future, and you believe that Shane Beamer is the guy. As I sit here and look this morning at the Rivals.com rankings, I don't know what's happened since we started, or I think this is right. South Carolina on Rivals.com, Patrick, the number 13th ranked class in the country. We'll see again as commitments come in today and through the later signing period. That obviously could change, but South Carolina sits with the number 13 rated recruiting class according to Rivals.com. If I shoot over to 247sports.com and I look at their team rankings, it has South Carolina at number 16. So right now, at least a consensus top 20 class in Shane Beamer's second year, and something that again, those classes right now, as I read those rankings to you, don't factor in 2 big transfers or whatever else South Carolina may get. There is Theo Weiss at Oklahoma, another 5-star wide receiver who, at least as of now, still in the transfer portal. And I think maybe the most important guy out there, Bray Walker, an offensive lineman, a left tackle from Oklahoma that maybe South Carolina could add.
Yeah. But again, South Carolina is 6th in the SEC, at least according to 24/7, which I'm looking right now. You know who they're behind in the East?
Missouri's had a great class.
Yeah, Kentucky and Missouri.
Missouri's done a great job. It was a very good year in the state of Missouri.
It's just funny to see Florida at 14, South Carolina ahead of LSU at 12, Florida at 14, and then South Carolina's behind Kentucky and Missouri, though.
Yeah, good
Just
classes.
weird.
Good classes for them. We'll continue talking about this. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in. It's the early signing day special here on 107.5 The Game. You're listening to the early game. We had somebody bring us muffins, croissants, and during the break, and so now we're all, oh boy. I did laugh, cry, yeah. That is funny, Gunner, RL, because yeah, definitely Gunner could be a guy that pops back up on the recruiting radar in a few years by transferring.
Well, hello, producer.
Which one you got? It's like it's got some icing on it.
Whatever this croissant looking thing is.
Hey, Jen. Yeah. If you will show Dave. Um. Just I'm not gonna use. We're not gonna do what we do with cutting the mics on and all. But the Gamecock Central guys are gonna. I'm gonna take that computer and run it into their StreamYard so that all the audio goes through there. Now again, when we go off air, or like when we go to a break, I'll just cut all the mics and they'll talk into their computers. So I don't need to worry about what you do with changing the thing.
Oh,
You'll
so
just
program 3 doesn't matter.
whatever it is we do, just leave it in that, and then I'll cut the mics off when we go to breaks and cut it back on so that it feeds back through there.
Okay. So for them to hear it on the live stream, you have to program 3.
Do they use StreamYard?
So when we are, so like their mic is program, their mic is program 3. So then when we go to break, I don't pop them down. I just take them out of one so that they can still hear it on the live stream. So.
Yeah, man. We gotta get back. I gotta finish this thing in the next 2 minutes. This is someone delivered this. It's a croissant, sugary croissant looking thing. Homeworks. Living example. What does it say? Living example of the gospel. Homeworks delivered this to us. Very nice.
No, Jason, the rankings right now do not. Yeah. There you go, York.
Sorry, this thing's flaky.
Mark, no, yeah, the 9 to 12 show. You have to go to whatever Gamecock Central's one is. They're going to run that one, and no, Jason, rankings do not include portal guys just yet. So yeah. All right, we got two more people in. Kajon Banks and Grayson Maines. So I'll try and do a quick try and keep up with what's happening. Turn that on in case Jen's talking.
I'll call her.
Oh, okay.
I'm a few minutes late, but a whirlwind of a day. Was in Miami for lunch today on a recruiting visit.
Sponsored by Herndon Chevrolet.
Expect nothing less than the best from Herndon Chevrolet.
Your hometown Chevy dealer, bringing you low prices and great service. The early game with Bill, Patrick, and Jen on your home of the Gamecocks.
Touchdown, Gamecocks.
107.5, the game.
Final hour of this program. It is early signing day across the country for college football. And we here at 107.5 The Game have got you taken care of. Coming up in about an hour, Wes Mitchell, Chris Clark of Gamecock Central will be joining me here in studio. It's all brought to you by Herndon Chevrolet. 1075thegame.com is where you can go. And any interviews you missed from today, you can go check out the podcast page. But it is 1075 The Game's early signing day special. Again, Patrick and I and Jen will get you through the next hour, and then they will depart me. They'll go enjoy the rest of the day, celebrate all the signings, and it will be Chris Clark and Wes Mitchell joining me here in studio with Captain David Ayer behind the glass.
Dave's already dressed in signing day uniform,
ready to go.
Got his jersey on.
Yeah,
signing day.
And during the break, he was trying to figure out how to work the coffee machine.
I'll be disappointed if Wes and Chris don't show up in jersey as well.
That seems fair. They should.
I really thought maybe, I was surprised Dave didn't have full pads just to be prepared and really be into it. But
you never know.
Pretty good with the
you never
jersey.
know when they're going to ask Captain Dave to sign.
Yeah, if someone could bring some eye
Exactly.
black past the studio, I'm sure Dave would put it on.
All
as
in,
well.
man.
His chances, though, are growing slimmer by the moment. However, South Carolina during the break has updated. Two more national letters of intent have arrived via the famed fax machine. Kajon Banks, defensive back out of Florida, 5'10", 170 pounds from Tallahassee, Florida, is in now. So he is official. And the second offensive lineman, the second high school offensive lineman of the recruiting period, Grayson Maines, is also in. Grayson was one of the first commitments for Shane Beamer. I think it was the second, to be honest. I'd have to go back and look. He committed on April 1st. 6'5", 270 pounds out of Sewanee, Georgia. So South Carolina now with 4 guys officially in the class, not including Spencer Rattler and Austin Stogner, who again have signed financial aid and agreements. They will not be part of today's ceremonies. We'll keep you updated over the next 50 minutes and into the next 3 hours as, again, our signing day special rolls on. Reminder coming up today, you can hear right here on 107.5 The Game, Shane Beamer's press conference to address the 2022 signing class. That should be around 4 o'clock this afternoon. And then at 5 o'clock, Shane will be joining Heath Klein on Game Time for a one-on-one exclusive interview you can hear right here on 107.5 The Game. So we got you covered throughout the day. Again, if you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100 is how you can join us. You can weigh in, Cool Care Heating and Air text line, or on the Love Chevy phone lines. Again, some basketball news from last night. South Carolina rolls over Allen University 110-51. According to the box score that I'm looking at here on Gamecocks Online, Wildens Levesque and Devin Carter leading the way, Patrick, each with 12 points. Mike Green coming in and being able to score quickly. 11 points in 7 minutes for the walk-on Mike Green. Brandon Martin and Keyshawn Bryant both with 10 points. Brandon Martin last night with a double-double in 21 minutes, 10 points, 11 rebounds. The Gamecocks weren't challenged in this game. They will be this weekend when they travel to Little John Coliseum to take on Clemson, 8 p.m. Saturday night. You can hear that right here on 107.5 The Game. The Gamecocks 8-2, Patrick. And again, I've been out the last 2 days, so we didn't have a great amount of time to talk about it, and then obviously with the recruiting news. But yeah, that win over Florida State this past weekend, a quality win, a quad 2 win, at least according to Ken Palm and to the net rankings. So a quality win there. That was South Carolina's second quad 2 win. And look, they're going to get lots of opportunities in SEC play. The SEC right now with 4 ranked teams, might have been 5. I did not look at the most updated rankings on Monday morning. But the SEC right now is going to give them opportunities to enhance their resume throughout the year. And certainly picking up a game like Florida State on a neutral site is a very nice piece to the resume.
Yeah, and I mean, getting a big win away from Colonial Life Arena is nice, but Clemson heading up to Little John, that's going to be a totally different atmosphere. It's not. I would be surprised if it's sold out. I don't think it'll be sold out, but it'll be a good crowd. It'll be a pretty hostile crowd. So this is where you can really get your road woes out of the way, because that Rock Hill game, yes, if what's the mental hurdle of not shooting on the same rims, I don't know what it is. We talked about what could be the reason for South Carolina not playing well away from Colonial Life Arena, because last night, I mean, it wasn't like there was a crowd there, but they just played really good basketball against the inferior opponent. But Rock Hill was still basically a home game because it was very much garnered in there. It was loud, tight quarters, but all South Carolina fans there. So that's not your traditional road game. This will be a true road test. And if the Florida State game was the turning point of the season, well, let's see it on Saturday. Let's go travel to a hostile environment, rivalry game, and get a win against a good Clemson team. That's how you keep this thing rolling.
803-404-6100. We'll get into more basketball as we get closer to South Carolina and Clemson on Saturday night. But today, early signing day. And again, South Carolina with 4 guys now official with the national letters of intent. Grayson Maines and Kason Henry, 2 offensive linemen. Kajan Banks, a defensive back, and Braden Davis, the quarterback out of Delaware.
I think it's Kawan. Looks like Kawan.
This is where I'll get the expertise of Wes Mitchell and Chris Clark. They actually talked to him. So
I'm gonna go with Kawan.
I went back in February when he was being recruited. I always try and get some kind of pronunciation just to help. That doesn't mean I get it correctly, but I was under the impression it was Kajan.
Okay. It might be.
We'll see. Who knows? We'll figure it out. Can't be that hard. 803-404.
We still. It took. I don't know that we've figured out if it's Gauthier or Gauthier, because we heard one on signing day, then got a different one during the season, then it was corrected again. I don't really know what his last name is still to this day.
I think this is something that Heath should sit down and talk to Shane
It
Beamer
is.
about.
This is the important
Get a
information that Heath
pronunciation
will have
chart.
at 5:00 today. Yeah, it's we're not good on the pronunciation of names. We prefer you just have Smith or Johnson or, Stogner. Stogner was pretty easy. I can get that one, but
Could be Stogner.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. I'll never
Bill
get this.
Gunter.
I'll never get this job correctly.
Could be Gunter.
Could be. Could be.
Everybody gets my last name wrong.
Perret?
Parrot.
Yeah.
Nobody gets Perret on the first try. It's very rare.
It has 2 R's. They should know that it's Perret.
We are your official English language show of the 107.5 The Game lineup. 803-404-6100. Out to the Love Chevy phone lines we go for people who speak much better than we do. Casey is up with thoughts on signing day. Casey, how you doing this morning?
Man, if you're not good with pronouncing names, you just got to be like your grandfather and just be like, hey, Junior. just say Junior.
It's a good point. That's a good point. I might start just going down that direction here from now on because it trips me up more often than it should. So
as long as you get the last name right, it's Junior.
That's
right. I know everybody excited with Spencer Rattler coming down, and I just had one question: is Pickens coming back or he's out?
As of now, I mean, he's in the bowl game. As far as we know, yesterday they spoke again. Shane Beamer will kind of address things more today and I think in the coming weeks. But Patrick, as of now, the only opt out for the bowl game is Zaquandre White, and that is the only player that we know that J.J. Barham, I think, has signed with an agent. Is that correct?
I'm not sure.
Or he's committed. We know J.J. Barham is leaving. But I haven't seen anything. And actually, as I say that out loud about signing with an agent, maybe he's picked an agency because I have heard nothing to indicate he's opting out of the bowl game. And they were out there at practice. Yes, they've practiced for 2 days. So to answer your question, the only one that we know for sure that is not participating in the bowl game is Zaquandre White, and J.J. Barham is the only other one we know going to the NFL.
All we know is he's going to the Senior Bowl.
Okay.
And maybe he won't.
Okay.
I mean, maybe he won't play in the ball game and play in the Senior Bowl. That's what Deebo Samuel did, and it made people not too happy. But I think the fact that he's playing in the Senior Bowl would at least slightly indicate that he is going to play in the bowl game. Maybe not.
Yeah. So it looks like, to answer your question, it does look like Zach Pickens will be back for his what would be his senior year. But again, I think a lot of that is to be determined once they get past this bowl game. And again, I think the good news.
Because I would love to see that.
Yeah,
I would love to see that because I ain't gonna say you have a talented quarterback coming in, and now you wonder what you have on the defensive side of the ball. Because I think our DBs grew up this year and they're gonna be better next year. And I see some of the recruitments. We got 1 or 2 6'3" safeties coming in that probably can move down and help shell the linebacker issues we've been having going on, and I'm pretty sure we might have some linebackers that might step it up this year. And I like what I'm hearing with the offensive linemen that are coming in. But I just want the fans to know this, and if you care about the Gamecocks and you're a Gamecock fan and you young or old, Spencer Rattler, somebody need to not introduce him to 5 points. We don't want another Stephen Garcia with talent going around thinking he's the mayor of Columbia. But I like the transfer, especially the tight end. I think we missed out on a lot of tight end action. And I think the offensive coordinator and Beamer itself, noticed that, because last year, it seemed like Eustace disappeared or he just didn't fit the offensive scheme. But I like what's going on. It's a process. This hopefully we can now counter the linebacker position and just have a solid defense. That's why I hope Pickens come back, but more than likely he may not. But if he wants to be with a better team, I would stay. But hey, I'm old and not young thinking about money no more. So y'all got it from here.
Appreciate the phone call, Casey. We got some breaking news that we've got to get to. This is not good news for South Carolina and Patrick. I talked about this earlier. Maryland football has put out a tweet, and it welcomes J-Sean Barham to Maryland. So there is your first big news of the day, according to @Terps Football. So the Maryland website has put out, it is official that J-Sean Barham has flipped from South Carolina to Maryland this morning and signed with the Maryland Terrapins. That is the news. That was the one that I was keeping an eye on because of the way his recruitment went down and making his announcement. Again, this is according to Maryland football. We'll get more on this as we go through. Again, Wes Mitchell and Chris Clark coming up in about 45 minutes as we'll carry on our signing day special. But this is certainly the biggest news of the morning, and it is not good news for South Carolina, as Maryland football on Twitter welcoming J-Sean Barham, who again was expected to be an early enrollee. And Patrick, we talked about him as an impact guy. He was the guy that I said earlier could be the big impact guy early on. The way his recruitment went down, the way everything kind of played out, he committed publicly to South Carolina on Saturday, but it looks like Maryland. I don't see any reason not to believe this, and this is a blow.
I'm looking at the Maryland football tweet that says it, so they wouldn't do that if he didn't already sign. So
yeah, so that is certainly a big change of events this morning for South Carolina, and not a good change of events if we're being dead honest about it and what has happened.
Yeah, when you lose your top rated player in your class, what is it, 72 hours? Not even 72 hours from the time you committed. This is just why recruiting is just ridiculous, because you're dealing with kids. And why don't you just say I'm announcing on Wednesday and have a big signing announcement on Saturday? And I don't even know what to make of that. I guess it's just sometimes you make a decision, you walk out of the grocery store and decide, or you order something on the menu, and as soon as the waiter walks away, you've decided that you ordered the wrong thing. I guess.
Okay.
I guess
that's an analogy.
I guess the kid just committed to South Carolina and then went to his favorite restaurant in Maryland and was like, "Man, I can't be in South Carolina away from this too long." And it could be anything with kids. They're just, I don't know. That's a big blow to the class. That hurts. It's just ridiculous timing. I don't understand why anyone would make a big to-do about a decision, a public announcement, and then 3 days later you flip. It's a little ridiculous.
803-404-6100. So there's your
Trey is saying exactly what everyone's thinking right now, or should be thinking. It's like writing it on the chalkboard until you mean it. I will not be mad at an 18-year-old. I will not be mad at an 18-year-old. I will not be mad at an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
Just keep telling yourself that.
Just hang in there. That is certainly the biggest news so far of the morning. 8:18 here on a Wednesday morning, early signing day. Again, we have the early signing day special for you all day long. Patrick, myself, Jen Jensen will get you through about the next 40 minutes here, give or take, and then Wes Mitchell and Chris Clark from Gamecock Central will join us to give their breakdowns of the day's events. And again, certainly if you're just tuning in, so far South Carolina with several players in the boat, the most recent Felix Hickson joining South Carolina officially with his national letter of intent. But right now, just breaking over the last few minutes, the Maryland Terrapin Twitter account at Terps Football has tweeted out that J-Sean Barham, who, as Patrick pointed out, was the top-rated recruit in the class for South Carolina, has flipped this morning, has signed his national letter of intent. That means he is officially with Maryland. He will not be changing that decision. So we'll get into more of that. We'll get to some phone calls as well on the Love Chevy phone lines. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, and you this morning, Jen Jensen, as well, as we carry you through here. The early signing day special here on 107.5 The Game. You're listening to us, and we'll continue talking with you when we return. Again, 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in.
Our early signing day special, sponsored by Herndon Chevrolet. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown Chevy dealer.
There's Chris.
That time of year where your heat needs to be working in the morning because it can be quite chilly. Your air conditioning needs to be working in the evening because we can get into the 70s. It is welcome to South Carolina weather, and you better be prepared by calling AAA Heating and Air. Give them a phone call today, 803-677-1500. You need to tell them Bill Gunner talked about them on 107.5. The Game told you to call them. Right now, $59 is all it takes to get your heating and air unit inspected. And again, with the drastic changes in weather around here, probably good to go ahead and get an inspection. Make sure that AAA Heating and Air has got you taken care of. Billy my inspector came out recently, just made sure everything was working because let's be honest, I don't want to wake up on Christmas morning and find out that the heat is not working in the Gunner family household. It's not quite enjoyable to be opening gifts and the heat not be working. We're all wrapped in blankets. Call AAA Heating and Air today. Get them out $59 to have your heating and air unit inspected. If there is an issue, AAA Heating and Air will work with you. They'll offer you a $1,500 rebate to buy back your old unit. Then, for those who qualify, no money down, 0% financing on a brand new unit. And the absolute best part, to make sure you're continuously covered, a 15-year parts and labor warranty. Don't wait around. Call AAA Heating and Air today. Get them out to your house. Let them do a $59 inspection on your heating and air unit. Give them a call, 803-677-1500, and tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Sorry, so many people be like, Maryland? BMAC. Must be the crab cakes. No, well, he's from Maryland. That's why it's Maryland. But yeah, I mean, the crab cakes don't hurt. We follow all of them, DC, but Wes and Chris are walking in right now, and that means rivals. Yeah, Chris just walked in. We're gonna go say hi to Chris.
Kill someone, drive sober, or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
Hey, if you've got a hole in your roof or you need a whole new roof, you need to call Mid-State Roofing, 356-1919. For nearly a quarter of a century, Mid-State Roofing has established its reputation as the leader in the roofing industry. Whether it's above your head or at your feet, perhaps a leaky foundation, 356-1919 is the number to call for all your roofing and waterproofing needs. The quality and craftsmanship of a Mid-State roofing system are tops in the industry, especially commercial and industrial roofing systems. If you own or you're in charge of a large building, warehouse, or industrial facility, then you're in charge of that roof. And at some point, a roof is going to need some attention. So the number to call for advice, service, results, and a commitment to customer satisfaction is 356-1919. See all that Midstate has to offer when you click on midstateroofing.com. Tell them, Midstate twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
356-1919, midstateroofing.com.
The demand for your used car is at an all-time high, and it's never been worth more. Herndon Chevrolet needs your trade. We'll buy your car, even if you don't buy ours. And to prove it, we're willing to beat any written offer by $500. That's right. We'll beat any written offer by $500. Visit Herndon Chevrolet today.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile. Smile.
803-630-5929 for more details. Hey, Gamecock fans. No matter if you're going to the bowl or going out on the town, wearing clothes purchased from Gamecock Traditions will always have you in style. Now available online, Gamecock Traditions is pre-ordering bowl shirts. Just go to GamecockTraditions.com and place your order. Shirts will be arriving in stores midweek next week. Looking to make this a Carolina Christmas? Come see us and get classy-looking hoods or crew sweats. Buy one, get the second one half price. Or get long-sleeve tees for $20. Gamecock Traditions located in Lexington, or visit our new store in the Village at Sand Hills. Gamecock Traditions, wishing you all a very Merry Christmas.
Some holiday parties are kinda... But with reimagined catering from Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers, your party can be...
Sorry, I put it back on program 1 while we were gone. But yeah, I'm not going to sit here and rag on Maryland. Like, SouthCon is obviously a better program. I can't imagine going to a Maryland game and going to a South Carolina game and deciding this is what I want more. But facility-wise, Maryland's top of the line. They have everything that South Carolina has. They just built a brand new football ops building, and it's pretty nuts. Under Armour, both Under Armour schools, but Maryland is the Under Armour school. Loxley, everybody loves Loxley. I mean, there's reasons, but pretty ridiculous. You look on the kid's Twitter, and he has a top 25 as his pin tweet. That's usually a bad sign. Numbers going up, Bill.
Numbers going up?
Yeah. Camden Yards is definitely one of the best ballparks in America. I love Camden Yards.
Well,
I don't know. I mean, Shane Beamer have something in his back pocket right now.
big change to the morning. Oh, but maybe some good news here. Let me go back. Where is the hard part about this? The slight hard part is you get so much stuff on Twitter that trying to do the show and just confirm what is legitimately factual.
Yeah.
But Gamecock, the Gamecock Twitter account has now put out that Stone Blanton has officially signed.
There's one linebacker.
Blanton.
Cal Ripken's son play here?
Yeah, he was on the team for a little bit. Yep. Yep. I can't remember his actual name, but yeah.
Cal Ripken the third?
Was it that high?
I can't imagine it was Cal Ripken the third. That would be a little bit much. Yeah, I found out yesterday he's a corner outfielder.
Cal Ripken's son?
No, Stone Blanton.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, she does. I have looked at a couple of them, but Jessica's very intending on signing day for sure. I haven't gotten through all of them. I'll probably do that when I get home. There's a lot going on right now.
Shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
We're back with more early signing day special
On 107.5 The Game.
I'm a few minutes late, but a whirlwind of a day. Was in Miami for lunch today on a recruiting visit.
Sponsored by Herndon Chevrolet.
Expect nothing less than the best from Herndon Chevrolet.
Your hometown Chevy dealer, bringing you low prices and great service. The early game with Bill, Patrick, and Jen on your home of the Gamecocks.
Touchdown, Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
The Game's early day signing special rolling along again, coming up here in about 30 minutes.
Early signing day or early day signing?
Early day signing. Early signing day is what we got.
It is early in the day
for
signing right now.
Yeah, it is.
Or not signing.
It is. Yeah, well, we'll get into that. Some news coming out there in the previous segment, but rolling along again, coming up in about 30 minutes, Wes Mitchell, Chris Clark will join me here in studio for a special early signing day event. You can listen all morning long, and make sure you go to Gamecock Central's live streaming. I believe that's on StreamYard as well, and you'll be able to watch us there. But Wes Mitchell and Chris Clark coming up here in about 30 minutes, and we will take you up until noon. So Wes, myself, and Chris from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. today. Again, it's all brought to you by Herndon Chevrolet. Reminder, Shane Beamer will have his press conference later today at 4 o'clock, and then he will have a one-on-one interview with Heath Klein at 5 o'clock. So, again, make sure you stay tuned right here to 107.5 The Game throughout the day for our early signing day special brought to you by Herndon Chevrolet. Also need to let you know we are partnering with the American Red Cross to help lessen the severe blood shortage that South Carolina is experiencing. We'll be holding a blood drive on Thursday, December 30th. The drive will be held at the American Red Cross located at 2751 Bull Street in Columbia, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. All donors will receive an exclusive Red Cross t-shirt. You can sign up online at redcrossblood.org and enter sponsor code Cumulus Cares. 803-404-6100, how you can join us. And Patrick, again, the news coming out, some good news, some bad news. The bad news, J-Sean Barham, the highest rated recruit in the South Carolina class, has flipped this morning in the last 15 to 20 minutes.
Yep. Signing day giveth and signing day taketh away.
Signing day giveth and signeth day taketh away and signing day taketh away. J-Sean Barham, who has flipped and is officially a Maryland Terrapin. The good news, Stone Blanton and Peyton Williams have officially signed their national letters of intent and are now part of the South Carolina class. So Stone Blanton, a guy that South Carolina did desperately want, is expected to play 2 sports. Blanton, a linebacker, 6'2", 220 pounds, is a guy that comes in for, again, a position that maybe we didn't talk about as much in terms of need and trying to build up the athleticism. That was one of the reasons we talked about J-Sean Barham earlier. Stone Blanton, though, still a very good pickup at a position that South Carolina has to get better at.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like there were lots of bodies at linebacker, but no one that really took that job and ran with it. I mean, Brad Johnson, I don't know who you'd say was the best linebacker on South Carolina last year. Maybe Damani Staley, maybe Brad Johnson as converting from pass rusher. But what is, Bill, the status of Sherrod Green? We saw that question on live stream, and I'm actually not even sure. He's gotten hurt 2 years in a row.
The consensus at this moment is that he wants to return
And he's allowed.
Remember,
Okay.
remember last year obviously doesn't count against anybody. And I believe this year, because the injury occurred in the Georgia game, which was week 3, he would be able to still use his red shirt.
Okay.
To have eligibility.
Well, I mean, what else would he do?
Right.
I guess that's what I was wondering. I wasn't 100% sure if he was allowed to come back because he was your best linebacker last year for the few games. I mean, I think he is much, or who knows how he'll recover from injury, but he looked much faster than he had early in his Carolina career. I mean, it's just with linebacker, it's kind of easy to tell who's a big time athlete and who's not because there's so many opportunities for kind of racing a running back to the edge. And it's just felt like for the last couple years, South Carolina has not had that guy who's consistently winning that battle to the sideline when a running back's trying to turn it upfield. And maybe Stone Blanton will be that guy. I mean, he looks like he can move, but he's also like, he's not, I don't think he's super tall, but he just looks stout and broad-shouldered and just looks like a linebacker. Looks like your classic middle linebacker.
Yeah, and again, I feel like you're asking a lot of a freshman to come in. He will not enroll early. Stone Blanton will not enroll early, so will not be here until the summertime. So he doesn't go through the spring practices. This is where I think you try to be honest about what you expect early on in their career. Could Stone Blanton come in and make an impact in his freshman year? Yes, certainly. There's no doubt. But at the same time, I think you're asking a lot of a young man that is going to have to come in and pick up the defense over the summer and through about 25 fall camp practices before South Carolina is really ready to go. Sherrod Green, if he's back, Mo Kaba is a guy who was highly thought of coming out of the Raleigh area 3 years ago.
And a big-time athlete.
And it'll be a guy that you expect to step up. Brad Johnson, who played that position, is kind of indicating that he wants to come back. Bam Martin Scott was one of the top junior college linebackers in the country last year that certainly did not really I don't think he played this year. I don't remember him being on the field for any snaps. I could be incorrect about that, but you do have some people there, but again, upgrading the athleticism at that position. Donovan Westmoreland, who is not officially in the class just yet. I've not seen his national letter of intent be promoted by the Gamecock football Twitter page. But Patrick, that's another guy that kind of an edge guy, kind of like Barham, is another edge guy that was expected to maybe come in and play multiple positions, whether it's the buck in kind of rush edge or actually the legitimate linebacker spot. And that's a guy that South Carolina will definitely now should have no problem. He took an official visit last weekend and should at some point this morning send in his letter of intent.
Is 214 the right weight for him? I mean, that's
Westmoreland?
what I'm saying. Yeah.
I don't know when they do. It depends on where you're looking and when the weights were done. Again,
this is something, I mean, I'm seeing on both sites. It looks like about 215 is the weight that although there's a 3-inch difference in the two heights that are listed for him. But yeah, you never know what a kid's going to be or how much weight he can handle, but it just does feel like I would think you got to be at least in the high 230s to be able to play that role. And I don't know, do they just always know how much weight a kid's body's going to be able to handle? Because if you want to play on the edge at all and be able to compete and hold up against tackles, I mean, you got to put on a minimum of 20 pounds on this kid, and that's not going to be an easy task, especially you can't expect him to come in right away and contribute in that hybrid role at 215 pounds.
No, and it's going to
That's
be
just too much to ask.
It's going to be asking a lot. But the linebacker position, certainly for South Carolina, one that we've talked about. There are many different positions that South Carolina needs to continue to upgrade their talent level, their speed, their athleticism, everything there. Linebacker is one of those positions when you talk about this year. One of the areas that I feel like we never discussed enough was the ability to stop the run, because we did see Auburn run the football effectively. We saw Clemson run the football effectively. Look, I think you and I both had said going into the Clemson game, if you tell me that DJU throws for 99 yards, I kind of feel like South Carolina's right there in the fourth quarter with a great chance to win that game. That obviously was not the case because Clemson was able to control the defense of the line of scrimmage. The linebackers struggled to make plays in the run game. So we'll continue to monitor that, but that's certainly the story of the morning as we roll through. South Carolina continuing to report some national letters of intent. Peyton Williams, another player from the state of Texas that is now in the boat. And Patrick, this is a guy I'll be interested to hear what Chris and Wes say about Peyton Williams. Safety out of the state of Texas, again, was a very early commitment to South Carolina. And, we rarely see South Carolina go to the state of Texas. They get two guys from the state of Texas this particular year, Landon Sampson, the wide receiver, the other one. But Patrick, when you talk about guys coming in here, safety is a position that seemed to haunt South Carolina for the last few years as they've struggled to get quality SEC level type play back there. Jalen Foster was absolutely fantastic this past year. He is completely out of eligibility. He is not back next year. He will move on. But this is another guy that again could come in and maybe hopefully make an impact early on at that particular position.
Yeah, and it's good that you bring in a bunch of defensive backs. That's just the kind of position you need to just kind of throw a bunch of darts at the dartboard, because that's at the end of the day what it is. It feels like it's almost luck. The 5 stars, the elites of the elite usually pan out, but it's a pretty hard position to project because instincts are such a part of it. And reading a high school quarterback who's probably going to stare at his receiver from the second he touches the ball to a college quarterback who actually knows how to manipulate defenses and a play caller who knows how to attack defenses. So Anthony Rose, Emory Floyd, Keenan Nelson, Peyton Williams, like all your highest rated defensive backs, it's hard to know who's going to end up being the cream of the crop of that bunch. And we've seen big classes before. What was it? 2 years ago, it was Dominic Hill, who's now gone, Joey Hunter, and
O'Donnell
Fortune, and none of them have really ended up making big contributions to the team. So we've seen big classes and hype around a couple guys, and it just doesn't end up panning out. Something gets lost there, whether it's just better athletes on the outside and struggle to cover, or just can't pick up the defense. Don't played all man coverage in college, and zone is kind of a concept you're not really understanding, or you're just not as good at it, playing with your eyes on the quarterback versus just locking up and worrying about everything else later. It's hard to know who's going to pan out, but it does feel like you got 4 or 5 pretty solid prospects to work with here, and you're pretty confident in Clayton White's ability to mold them right now.
Peyton Williams, again, out of Rockwell Heath High School in Rockwall, Texas, 6'1", 180 pounds, is considered the number 38 safety in the country. Again, he is now officially, and he committed June 21st of this past summer. So he is now officially in as well. 803-404-6100. We'll get to more information as we roll along. You're listening to 107.5 The Game's early signing day special here. Coming up in about 20 minutes, Wes Mitchell and Chris Clark will join me, and we will continue counting down. But next up, we'll look at a little bit of the offensive guys and where South Carolina's at there. Landon Sampson, certainly another one that you're watching closely to make sure his national letter of intent comes in today. Because, Patrick, there's not a whole lot of guys that I look at offensively that are in this recruiting class that are instant impact players. That is one of them. We'll talk about him when we return. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Our early signing day special, sponsored by Herndon Chevrolet. Herndon Chevrolet is your hometown Chevy dealer. Stop by our showroom today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
We'll be back with more early signing day special on 107.5 The Game.
We are just about 16 days away from the start of 2022. That means starting to make up your New Year's resolutions, and one of them better be enjoying life to its fullest in 2022. If there's anything we've learned about the last 2 years, it's that you should not waste any day, and especially if you're dealing with chronic pain If you've been suffering from issues where people have told you surgery is the only option, then you need to call QC Kinetics and get your quality of life back. Get a free consultation today, 803 281 6860. If you've been suffering from pain in your muscles, in your ligaments, and tissue, if you're suffering from inflammation, and you want to do it the all natural way, no steroids, no opioids, no surgery, get that free consultation today and get your lifestyle back. 803 281 6860. That's how you can get in touch with the medical professionals at QC Kinetics and go and get yourself back to living the life that you should be living, where you can run and jump and play with the kids out in the yard, do all the fun things that you want to do. Don't allow it to hamper you in 2021. Days are precious. Your life is precious. And being mobile and active is something you want to enjoy. So call QC Kinetics today to get your quality of life back with a free consultation to start. Again, no steroids, no opioids, and they want to do it without surgery, just through regenerative medicine. 803 281 6860. That phone number again, 803 2821 803 281 6860. That is QC Kinetics. Well, some breaking news on the show. Signing day, excitement. It's just typically how it goes, huh?
Yeah, good timing because I'm running out of gas.
Good. We will wrap it up. I will move down to where you're at.
Talk about baggage tray. We don't want Jamie Tart.
Oh, I don't know. Jamie Tart, I hadn't watched lately. I feel like Jamie Tart's turning it around. Hadn't he turned it around?
Yeah, he definitely is turning it around. If Jamie Tart, yeah, Bill's right. If Jamie Tart can become a locker room team guy, then so can Spencer Rattler.
That's right. Yeah, Patrick's
All right. Well, Bill's here for 3 more hours. I won't leave the live stream. I'll stay with you guys.
I watched until about I watched first 5 minutes of the third quarter, but then I was like, man, I'm gonna be girl day. I don't want to. This ain't the game that I'm selling my soul for to stay up until 11. He's got a Monty Bates as the number 1 player.
Yeah, the live stream will end in about 10 minutes. Then the new live stream will start on the Gamecock Central channel.
Well, he's got what? Larry Brown, and then he's got Mike Miller on staff. I can't remember I would just say your ex is annoying. Your ex is annoying.
What's up? Yep. Fading quickly.
All right. We got anybody? Okay.
Oh boy.
Just about 8 minutes left in this program, but do not turn that dial. 107.5 The Game. We got you covered all day long. The early signing day special sponsored by Herndon Chevrolet. Coming up next, Wes Mitchell, Chris Clark from Gamecock Central will join me here in studio. We will get more in depth and break down the recruits, recruit by recruit by recruit. The ones that are at least signing with the University of South Carolina today, Patrick, is the big news so far of the morning is unfortunate news for South Carolina. J-Sean Barham decommitting and signing with Maryland. That right now, the biggest surprise. I've not been able to, with doing this show, I've not been able to look around nationally here as we kind of roll along and see if there has been anything else that has occurred nationally that would fit. That's certainly kind of a rough morning there. But South Carolina right now landing players, a couple more coming in. Nobody knew since we last reported. Peyton Williams, the last person to send in their national letter of intent. So we will continue to wait on those throughout the morning. But coming up in about 12 minutes, Wes Mitchell, Chris Clark with Gamecock Central will join us right here on 107.5 The Game, and we will kind of carry you through until noon today before Pearson and Preston take over. Then Jay and Tommy and Heath Klein. Again, Shane Beamer's press conference later today, 4 o'clock, and then at 5 o'clock, an exclusive one-on-one interview you can hear right here with Heath Klein, Shane Beamer, and Heath Klein. That'll be at 5 o'clock today on Game Time.
He's got a busy day, Shane Beamer. Did you see the tweet Steve Fink put out his media schedule today? He's got a 3 o'clock ESPNU radio interview, a 3:30 taped interview with Rivals, a 4 o'clock press conference, 5 o'clock with Heath, 5:30 is on Feinbaum, and then Carolina calls at 7.
It's all part of that's what the big money gets.
Can't start till 3 though because he's waiting for all the faxes to come in, I guess.
It's what the big money gets. Real quick, because I've been out. Brent Venables, $7 million a year. Sam Pittman going for. I didn't see.
I mean, it's crazy numbers, but isn't this what we agreed? That's what it was gonna be. We would have been surprised if I think the number I said was between 6 and 8 million for Brent Venables. Anything lower or higher than that, I'd be probably surprised. It's the going rate now.
The changing world of college football, and again, part of it affected South Carolina on Monday night in a wild, wild way. He will not be part of today's signing class because transfers, they don't sign. But again, Patrick, right now, yep, you can be upset about the Barham news, but the bottom line, South Carolina does get what they believe to be their quarterback in Spencer Rattler. Austin Stogner, a pretty nice piece to add along with him. Poor Stogner just gets lost in the shuffle here of this.
But that's big because one of the most coveted recruits of this cycle for South Carolina fans was going to be Oscar Delp. You miss on him. He goes to one of your rivals. And then, okay, last week, everyone's saying, well, Max Johnson's in the portal and he and his brother are a package deal. Maybe Max Johnson's going to come to South Carolina. And then we have Jake Johnson to make up for Oscar Delp. Well, now that's not going to happen, but you get Austin Stogner to make up for losing potentially 2 guys. You didn't get totally invested in Jake Johnson as a South Carolina fan, but it was going through your mind. And I don't know, not many positions. You know what? Honestly, those might be the 2 positions that hype up South Carolina fans the most is quarterback and tight end.
Just some news and notes from around the country very quickly here. Jake Johnson, as you mentioned, has indeed committed to Texas A&M.
Ooh.
He
So
is
Texas A&M's got a monster class right now.
a monster tight end class. I believe that is now 1 5-star and 2 4-stars at the tight end position alone for Texas A&M.
Gracious.
Maryland has apparently, whatever Maryland's doing is working apparently. Last night, they flipped or landed Ramon Brown, the running back. And this morning, we've talked about what has happened. They have also flipped Andre Roy, I believe it's Roy, out of the same school, Baltimore St. Francis. Offensive tackle was a 3-star. He was committed to Penn State. But this morning, Maryland has pulled off another signing day surprise by flipping a commitment to Penn State. So they get South Carolina, they get Virginia Tech, and they also get Penn State. So Maryland up there, Sports Talk Radio, probably just a buzz with signing day stuff, right? Is that what they talk about up there?
I'm honestly, I will let you know, but I would be stunned if
anybody's talking about it.
I mean, right now it's the sports junkies. They've been on the radio for 25 years. 2 of them are Maryland alums, and I guarantee they don't even bring up signing day.
One name that we'll continue to watch here because I think it is an instant impact player for South Carolina, Landon Sampson out of South Lake Carroll High School, South Lake, Texas, 6'1", 180 pounds, wide receiver. South Carolina in this recruiting class did not hit on the wide receivers, I think, the way they wanted to. Theo Weiss, I believe, is a 5-star wide receiver that is in the transfer portal at this moment from Oklahoma. Well, again, in this moment, right now, today, more than ever, in this moment means I'm still about 20 minutes behind whatever's happening. But South Carolina did not get maybe the help they were trying to get. They missed on Jaden Gibson, who went to Oklahoma, CJ Smith, Chandler CJ Smith, who was initially committed to Florida, has since decommitted and gone to Georgia. Antonio Williams, we all know the story there, going to Clemson. But Landon Sampson, Patrick, is a guy that I think is the next guy who I'm kind of just keeping an eye on to make sure that national letter of intent gets into South Carolina this morning.
Yeah, and the Theo Weiss thing, though, has been cracking me up. You just type his name in on Twitter, and I don't know, every fan base that reads his tweets or looks at his social media is going to translate it as he's staying at Oklahoma, he's coming to South Carolina, he's doing this, he's doing that, because he just keeps commenting on Caleb Williams' Instagram post, commenting on Spencer Rattler's Instagram post, liking the post, and everyone's like, oh, he just liked Spencer Rattler's post. That means he's coming to South Carolina. Oh, he just commented on Caleb Williams' Instagram. That means he's staying at Oklahoma. In reality, he's probably just a good teammate that's friends with his teammates and is just hyping them up. But it's just funny to see how people get all freaked out because he just liked someone's tweet. And in reality, it means absolutely nothing. He's been very quiet. I don't know what's happening there at all. But Landon Sampson, yes, you want to lock him up. He's been very loyal for a long time. It sounds like that would be. I wouldn't think that you're going to lose him, but it would be devastating. That would be a devastating loss.
That is one I think you just kind of keep an eye on just to make sure, because I do feel like
make sure he doesn't follow Quinn Ewers to Texas.
Yeah, just anything. Who knows? It's recruiting. I'm sitting here. Wes Mitchell has joined us in studio. Chris Clark. I've worked with them. I guess I've worked with these two guys. I think one of the first conversations I ever had with Chris Clark years ago was about Nukeese Richardson. There's a blast from the past. So we've all seen it. It's you've had crazy signing day stories in the past. I think three of us have gotten out and traveled at different times in our lives to these things. Signing day is an interesting time, Patrick. It's an interesting time.
Not for the faint of heart, signing day.
It is not for the faint of It's not for those who like to sleep either. It's not for those who like to sleep. I have 2 of them right behind me here who are running on little sleep, but they're going to get us through the next 3 hours. Chris Clark, Wes Mitchell from Gamecock Central will join me. So the program's not ending. We're just sending Patrick and Jen home to get some rest, to take a nap. Yeah. We will be back here in the morning to do it all over again and recap what is sure to be an interesting, wild day. You, on the other hand, have no business turning the mic or turning your stereo dial. Wes Mitchell, Chris Clark up next. 107.5 The Game signing day special continues. Patrick, good luck.
Thank you.
There you go.
You too.
In under your name still, and we'll do all that, and all I need you to do is go into theirs. So
they just need to log into it on here.
Yeah. So that computer has the feed essentially. We are out.
What do you use?
We are out today.
We use StreamYard as well.
And I'm going to flip over, let the Gamecock Central guys get hold of the computer so we can go over to the Gamecock Central StreamYard.
Yeah.
You can follow us there. Everybody have a good day. You got it, Patrick?
Yeah. All right. We're still live. Wes is logging into his right now. It's just Gamecock Central YouTube?
Yep.
All right. There you go.
Meet you all there.